Hey, what's up guys? It's Tom here. Super excited about this particular module because really it's the foundation and the core of everything. So Adam, what is product research?
Yeah, so product research is ultimately cultivating ideas. So there's a brainstorming portion of it where you generate ideas. And then it's also vetting what the probability of success is of those ideas in general, as well as for your own individual personal budget and situation. So it's a combination of generating ideas and then filtering those ideas to determine which one makes sense to pursue and launch on the Amazon platform.
Right. So I think piggybacking off what Adam said, there are so many ideas that we have. And maybe before you even bought in this course, you're like, hey, I can sell this, I can sell that. Yeah. There's a million different ideas in my head right now that I can sell on Amazon. But the thing is, not all of them are good ideas. Like, what is a good idea? What is a bad idea? And that is really like the most important part of this. So what we're going to teach you in this particular module is, number one, we're going to teach you all the ways to find ideas. So that's like, how to use social media, how to ask your family and friends, what your own personal problems are. So you're going to generate a list of ideas. And then we're going to put through our product's scorecard. And then by the end, you're going to know, okay, out of all the ideas I had, what's a good idea? What's a bad idea? And then focus more of your time, obviously, on the good ideas. So why do we do product research? Well, we need to sell a product, obviously. And I would say that product research is the absolute foundation, like its core of this entire journey. If you launch a bad product, if you don't follow our process, you are essentially it's going to be an uphill battle for you. And if you follow our process, it is going to be so much easier for you. Doesn't matter like every single step of the way. So make sure you really pay attention and follow this particular module to an absolute T.
Yeah, Tom, and I would to add on that, I would say that selecting a good product or a product that has a decent probability of success, and if it's created in the right way, the idea's the right idea, you've gone through the filter, everything else is easier. Yeah. When you launch a good product with the right criteria, pay-per-click's less expensive, reviews are easier to generate. All the things that are part of the Amazon flywheel that get you that organic ranking, that get you sales, that do all the things that create a successful business, it's all easier. Yeah. And the inverse of that, if you select a poor product or it's poorly executed, everything's more expensive, everything's harder. And so the time that goes into this part of the process of building an Amazon business, I think is probably one of the most critical parts of the entire course and in building an Amazon business.
Yeah, absolutely. And one key important thing is we don't pick products based on emotions, right? We pick products based on data. There's so many times like, oh, we like this, we like that. Well, you're not the one who's actually going to be buying this. Customers are going to be buying this. So you want to sell something the customers want. And oftentimes, if you want something, other people want it as well. But I've definitely seen a few products where I'm like, okay, maybe like one person in this entire world other than you would use this. So make sure you don't launch something like that. And the other thing is product research is actually not hard. Finding a list of ideas is not hard. Filtering those things is not hard. But what is hard is product differentiation. So Adam, like what is product differentiation? What is product offering?
Yeah, so for me, you got to just, again, think about it in a customer's shoes. I think that's the biggest thing when we're thinking about differentiation. And if for a particular idea, you're looking on Amazon, you type in a keyword that you think best describes that product, you've got to look there and think, why are customers buying these products? The good ones, the poor ones that just show up in search. And then for your particular idea, why would they buy that? So whatever differentiation idea that you got, and we're going to get into all the different ways that you can differentiate a product, you fundamentally got to ask the question, why would a customer buy my offer at this particular price, especially when you're launching a product and have no reviews? Yeah. So for me, it's about answering that, and it doesn't need to be reinventing the wheel. Sometimes it's very subtle things that you need to tweak. Sometimes it's more fundamental. But it boils down to, why would a customer buy this concept or riff on a product that you've come up with?
Yeah, I mean, there's many benefits of Amazon, but I would say one of the downside of Amazon is the fact that when a customer go on Amazon to buy something, there's like 40 options just on page 1. Page 2, there's another 40 options. So when a customer type in, let's say, garlic press, they have 40 options to choose from. why should someone buy yours? And don't say high quality, don't say good customer service, because everybody has high quality, everybody's got customer service. So those are not competitive advantages. So we're gonna teach you actually how to differentiate. And the worst mistake you can do in this course, I'm gonna say that one more time because I've taught thousands of people, you've taught thousands of people. The number one mistake that I see people making is launching something called a Me Too product. And what a Me Too product is very simple. It sounds exactly what it is your product is the absolute same as everybody else on page one. So when you do that, it is very hard for you to stand out among the crowd. And what we're gonna teach you are methods where you can actually stand out among the crowd, where everybody else is kind of competing over here and you're competing in your own little data circle. So there's a really good book, by the way, which is called Red Ocean, Blue Ocean. Highly recommend for you guys to read that book. I think every single business person should read that book. And it talks about innovating, talks about playing in the zone of Blue Ocean, which is a place that you don't have a lot of competitors and whatnot, and for you to thrive. So that's super, super important.
So another thing I think as you kind of piece together, how do I go about generating ideas and what kind of a brand and business do I want to build? One of the easiest ways, frankly, is just to think about what your passions are, what your pain points are, and solving for those. It's so important to get into the customer's head because that's critical to finding the right ideas. It's critical to developing differentiation. And it's just simply harder to do that if it's not you. Like, I'm not a mom, right? So for me to go in and develop kids' products, I could do it, and there's methods to do that. But why not look inside and think about the things that you care about, that you're passionate about, that are your pain points? And it's a lot easier to discover those products and create products that your customer will buy because you're the actual customer.
Yeah, exactly. So I recently got into golf, and I know, all the golf jargons. I know the golf social media. I know which page to follow. I know all the good players. I know what kind of language they use. I know what kind of tournaments is happening this weekend. I know the big events is happening. I know how to talk to a golfer. I can sit beside a golfer and we can talk for hours at a time about golf. So if you don't know how to golf and you're launching a golf product to a golfer, you don't really know what they care about. You don't really know what's trending. You don't really know anything about golf. So imagine selling something to someone who you can't even connect with on an emotional level. So it's not a must, but it's a huge bonus if you can look deep inside and figure out what's important to you. What are you passionate about? What do you like to do? If you're a mom, obviously you love your kids. Like, what are some trending kids products? What are some of the pain points you have when buying for your kids? And maybe that can be your product as well. So definitely look inside. One of the best ways to start a business is always solving your own problems, which we'll talk a little bit about later. So later on, we'll also tell you how to use a bunch of tools and resources for you to launch products. Now, one of the things I do want to warn you about is there's a lot of courses out there, right? There's a lot of Amazon courses. There's a lot of YouTube courses. There's a lot of information. And what I find is a lot of these information, they're teaching the same ways to find product. So what happens if everybody is consuming the same information and everybody's selling on the same platform using the same methods? Well, that is the surest way to launch a product that everybody else is launching as well. So what does that mean for you? Well, it means you're going to have a lot of competitors. When you have a lot of competitors, the market is going to get saturated and sometimes the price goes down, and that's not a game that we want to play. So what we are going to teach you in this course are some methods. Think outside the box, right? We don't want you to just rely on certain tools, put in some numbers, spit them out, and then launch those products, because that's what everybody else is doing as well. And we don't want you to do the same as everybody else. So we're going to teach you some really thinking outside the box method so that you can really stand out among the marketplace and for you to carve out your own niche. I'm just going to give you an example as well. So I get a lot of cold emails, right? So people that want to work for us, they want to write emails for us. They want to, produce YouTube videos for us. And I'm sure there's a course out there that these people are taking. How do I know? Because every single day I get the same emails. So these emails will have the same subject lines. 3 ways for you to improve your sales. Look at this video inside. So imagine if every single day I get the same emails, I become like desensitized to even opening that email, right? So you don't want to do what everybody else is doing. You want to figure out your own unique ways, and that's exactly what Adam and I are going to teach you.
Yeah, and just to think through a little bit more of the psychology of this, you're never going to find the perfect product. You're never going to have 100% certainty. Even me, I've been in this game for 4+ years. Every time I launch a product, I've gotten really good at it. But I would say I'm like 80% sure on most of the products. There's always going to be a percentage of unknowns. You're not always going to know exactly how the offer is going to hit. You don't always know if you're going to be able to rank the product. There's a lot of unknowns and uncertainties, so you've got to get comfortable with the unknown. You've got to be comfortable with a 70 to 80% comfort level that this product's going to be good, and you're never going to solve for that 20%. So don't let that fear of uncertainty lock you up and delay you from taking action, because then you're going to look back in 8 months and you wouldn't have done anything. At some point, you got to hunker down, you got to place the production order, you got to go forward with launching the product, and you got to see what happens. And it's okay if it doesn't work out. It's okay if it falls into that 20% scenario. That's part of the process. And we're going to help de-risk that. We're going to help you make the right decisions. We're going to help you understand your budget and financials to make sure that you don't get over your skis and get into trouble. But get comfortable with that unknown and don't let it lock you up in the process.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think this is the part where so many students get caught up. I mean, look, I've been in the game for a long time, and I've taught thousands of students, so I have a lot of data points. I'm just telling you guys straight up right now that so many people get to this point and they get analysis paralysis. Like, they just can't seem to launch this product because of the fear that's holding them back. Nothing else, right? And the fear is, what if I launch this product and it doesn't succeed? So whatever you focus your attention on, that's what's going to happen. So imagine that, if you start focusing on, all the ways it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. But what about all the things that it could potentially go right? Then your focus changes and your directory, everything else changes as well along with that. But I would say 70%. So here's the interesting thing, right? In school, we're all aiming to get 100%. In entrepreneurship, you actually don't want to achieve 100%. Why? Because that means you launch too slow. What you want is actually 70%. So forget everything you learned about school. What I want you to do in this course is get a 70%. Because once you get a 70%, you launch your product really quickly. Then you get customer feedback, right? Customers going to leave you reviews. Customers going to be able to give you feedback. And you can always actually improve the product on the second, third, fourth order. And there's a really good brand called Immi, IMMI. They are a direct-to-consumer ramen brand. So ramen obviously is a type of food, and they launched this brand and it was awful. Like, the ramen tasted so bad. It's, low carb, low calorie, like high protein, all that type of stuff. But the founders knew that we just need to get it out there. Like, even though it's bad, let's get the customers to tell us bad and ask the customers what they want in order for us to improve the product. That's how they launched. And Paul Graham, which is the founder of Y Combinator, they birth companies like Stripe, Airbnb, all these, gigantic companies. He said, basically what he said was, you need to be embarrassed of your very first product. You cannot be proud of your very first product. You need to be embarrassed of it. The reason why is because if you're proud of it, you launch too late. And in this entrepreneurship game, speed is everything. You need speed, you need execution. Perfection is the worst enemy. And something Tony Robbins said as well that I absolutely love. He said, perfection is actually the lowest standard because it doesn't exist. So you are already setting yourself up for failure. So I'm going to tell you right now that the perfect product does not exist. And if every single day you're waiting for the perfect product, you're never going to launch your Amazon brand. So I think it's so important for us to talk about analysis paralysis in this video. And make sure you keep that in the back of your mind as we progress.
Yeah, and just one quick tidbit I would say, Tom, is perfection's a form of procrastination. You might think that you're doing work, you might think that you're being detailed, but you have to ask yourself, am I doing this because I'm afraid of launching the product and I just want to delay and I want to feel like I'm working when I'm actually not?
Right.
You should be measuring yourself based on execution in this product development and product ideation.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, so we're going to talk about one of the strategies and corresponding tools that's going to really help you brainstorm and organize the ideas that you come up with for your products. And it's called the product funnel. And the concept here is not to think about whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. We're not filtering anything. We're literally just cultivating as many ideas as humanly possible using a lot of really unique methods so that we have a core set of dozens and dozens of ideas that we can then assess later through a filtering and criteria method that we're going to get into. So one of the tools which we're going to link down below this video is going to be a Google Sheets. There's going to be an empty template that you can actually fill out for your own ideas and your own product research method that you're going to do. But we've also included an example which we'll also link below. So this is a golf example. So Tom's got into golf. I actually have as well. So the tabs on the bottom are all the different methods that we're going to talk about for how you can cultivate ideas. So just looking at this first one, which is the customer journey method, which is literally just thinking about, hey, me as a golfer, what are all the things that I bought or may buy? And so it's just listing those ideas there in the product column. We also like to think about what stage the customer is buying. Sometimes they're just getting into something and they're a beginner. Sometimes it's a more intermediate or expert level product. So there's a column there. We then have a column for the purchase motivation. So why are they buying it? Again, that psychology is really important. We list the typical price. You don't need to overthink this, just kind of a ballpark price that most of those products are priced at for that idea. Then there's the purchase frequency, which sometimes we may want to have multiple purchases that happen, and sometimes it's a one-time purchase, so we want to know what that is. And then just any notes that we've got. Key point here again, this isn't trying to find the perfect idea. This is to try to find as many ideas as possible, to document them using this funnel in this worksheet, which we'll then use later in the criteria set of the videos so you can identify which ones are the good ideas that increase your probability of success.
Hey guys, it's Tom here. So in this video, we're going to be talking about just a quick intro of finding great product ideas. So I'm sure that you already have a lot of ideas in your head, but how do you generate more ideas? Well, there are tools, there are resources, there's many different ways. I'm going to teach you all those different ways. So again, what we want to do right now is we just want to source as many different ideas as possible. And once we have enough ideas, that's when we actually use the product scorecard to filter down the ideas to see which of those ideas are good, which of those ideas are bad. So super excited about the following videos. These are, really get our creative juice flowing for you to find potentially your next profitable product.
Okay guys, so the first concept and idea generation method that we're going to get into is actually assessing your own personal experience. And there's a reason that this is first, because I think it's probably one of the most powerful methods that you can leverage to generate a lot of ideas. And that's because you're really stepping into your own experience as a consumer, and you're understanding the purchases that you've made and the reasons that you've made those purchases, and you're literally just listing them out. So we've used a golf example. When we first got into golf, Tom remembers it, I remember it. I can go back to that time and think about, okay, what's the first product I bought? Okay, I needed golf clubs. And when I got golf clubs, I needed a bag. And then I needed a glove. Then I needed a rangefinder. And there's a whole list of things that we purchased when we first got into golf. And all you're doing here is literally just jotting those down and thinking through what you purchased, as well as what people in that particular niche or space are buying.
Yeah, that's right. So another good example is for any of the pet owners out there, either you have a dog or a cat. Once you buy your dog and cat, you needed a bunch of things for your dog and cat. Well, cat food, litter box, litters, cat toys, cat harnesses, dog leash. So these are all potentially products that you can list out. Not saying those are products that you're going to sell, but these are just the idea generation phase, which we're on right now. So I want you to open up the sheet that Adam talked about in the last video and just start writing them down, right? But in this video, I actually want to give you some actual examples of multi-million, multi-billion dollar companies that was formed based on someone's actual idea. So number one is Spanx. So the founder, Sarah Blakely, created Spanx after struggling to find solution to visible panty lines and discomfort from wearing pantyhose. And she came up with the idea of creating footless pantyhose, which eventually led to the creation of Spanx, a popular shapewear brand. Toms. The founder, Blake, created Toms after a trip to Argentina where he noticed as many children without shoes. So he decided to create a shoe company that would donate a pair of shoes to a child in need for every pair of shoes sold. So GoPro, the founder is Nick Woodman. He actually sold his last business and went on a surfing trip. He wanted to document his surfing experiences with a small camera, but there was nothing on the market. So he decided to create GoPro. Airbnb, the founders Brian Chesky and Joe started Airbnb after they struggled to find affordable accommodation during a design conference in San Francisco. they decided to create a website where people would rent out their spare bedrooms to travelers. Dyson, the founder James Dyson created Dyson after he became frustrated with the performance of his vacuum cleaner. He set out to create a more efficient, more effective vacuum cleaner, which eventually led to the creation of Dyson, a very popular vacuum cleaner brand. And lastly, Kind Snacks. The founder, Daniel, created Kind Snacks after struggling to find healthy snacks that he could eat on the go. He set out to create a snack bar made with natural ingredients that was also tasty and convenient. So these are just some examples of multi-million, multi-billion-dollar brands all started from someone's own personal experience. So do not ever discount some of the pain points that you're going through in your daily lives. Never discount some of the things that you're purchasing and you're like, man, there has to be a better way of doing this. That could potentially be your $1 million, even hundreds of $1 million product. So make sure you just scan through everything that you bought, either it's on Amazon or Walmart, wherever you shop, and just take a look at all the things you bought, all the things that you enjoyed, and starting to write those things down.
So this next concept, again, involves getting out into the real world because there's, again, unique ideas that not a lot of e-commerce sellers leverage that we want to tap into and find truly unique ideas. And this is simple. It's literally going to physical brick and mortar stores that are related to the product niche that you're evaluating and just seeing what products are on those shelves. And oftentimes you can actually look at some of the prime placements within stores because that's indicative of what those retailers are seeing as fast-moving, good-selling products. And this is interesting for me and hits close to home because when I built and ultimately sold a home goods brand, the hero product of that business actually came from me physically going into Pottery Barn, which is a home decor, home goods store in the US, and finding a product I had never seen before that I thought was really unique and compelling, and that was placed in the front of the store, meaning that it was moving well. Then looked at Amazon after the fact and found out, man, this is a pretty cool opportunity. So got into that early, was inspired by something that I saw in a store, and that's a great method of generating ideas. There's also some additional things even offline with stores. You can go to the actual websites of these big retailers, see what the new releases are, see what the best sellers are. You can go to places in a particular niche that are online sellers of multiple brands and see what products are trending there. So you could go to golfgalaxy.com as an example, which is a retailer, but also has an online storefront and see what those ideas are. So think outside the box, get out of what other Amazon and e-commerce sellers are doing and look at what physical omni-channel retailers are showing for new releases, best sellers both in-store and online.
I've actually done something interesting where I would go to like a pet brand because I kind of want to launch like a pet brand, but I know that I can't just launch like a generic pet brand, right? Because pet is very, very competitive. So it's got to be something unique. And what I've done in the past is I've gone into a pet store where I was buying my dog like cat some food. And I will actually ask the store manager and I'll be like, what is your number one selling product in this store, right? And they're like, oh, they don't talk to anybody all day. And they're just like, yeah, like we have this, we have that. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like, what would you like to see to be sold? Like, if you can invent anything, like what are some ideas that you have? And one of the ideas is like an indestructible dog toy because dogs just like rip everything to pieces. And there are some available in the marketplace, but you can get ideas from just talking to people, right? So next time you go somewhere you're interested in pets or supplements or health or whatever, just go ahead and ask the cashier because they see things ringed up all the time. Another great way to find product ideas is by researching trends. Trends are great. If you can get in the early days and ride the wave up, that's going to be absolutely fantastic for your business. So what are some ways for you to research and find trends? We've listed out a few ways and here they are. Number one is using Google Trends. So this is a free tool that allows you to see how frequently a particular search term is entered into Google. And you can use it to see what products are currently trending and gaining popularity. And all you need to do is go to www.trends.google.com and you'll be able to see it there. And make sure when you're on it, select USA, not your home country, because ultimately that's where which platform is we're going to sell on. It's Amazon.com. Second one is called Trend Hunter. This website is an online community that shares trend reports and articles on various industries, and you can use it to stay up to date on the latest trends and find new product ideas. The third one is called Product Hunt. This website is a community-driven platform that features new and innovative products. You can browse products by categories or use the search function to find specific products. Number 4, TikTok. So I'm sure you have the app, and What you can do is you can go open up TikTok. In the search function, you can type in hashtag TikTok made me buy it, or hashtag Amazon find, or hashtag trending products. By you typing that in, TikTok is actually going to show you videos of trending products. Those can definitely be products that you can launch on Amazon as well. If you advertise on TikTok, TikTok will actually also allow you to see some of the trending products on TikTok right now. Number 5 is social media. So believe it or not, my third product, the derma roller, was found on social media. Christina, my fiance, was browsing social media one day and she got targeted by an ad. And she's like, hey, are people selling this product on Amazon? And there were a few at the time, but not a whole lot. So a lot of times you can actually find amazing products on social media. That includes Instagram, that includes Facebook, and that includes other websites as well. And one small trick that I would share with you is if you want to see a lot of products on your Facebook feed, on your Instagram feed, and so on and so forth, all you need to do is tell Facebook and Instagram, pretend to them you're a potential buyer. And what I mean by that is you can click on any ad that you see and add the product to cart on the website without purchasing it. By doing that, it signals to Facebook and Instagram that you are a buyer and they will feed you more products. This way, next time you go on Facebook or Instagram, you're going to be able to see a lot more products, and then you can drop those products down as well. Those could be potentially great product ideas for you.
So some additional ideas for finding trends is actual Amazon bestsellers. You can actually go onto the Amazon platform, and we're going to give some links down below on how to do that. And you can see what's actually trending and scaling and growing on Amazon.com. And another way to do this, if you've got a particular niche, say golf, is you can go into the golf category and subcategories, and you can actually select the new releases that are actually performing well. Oftentimes, this is a great way to find new ideas that may not be in the core category search, but they're in these niche down categories where you can see what those new releases are. Another method is Kickstarter, which is a crowdfunding platform. And what's great about Kickstarter is those are typically new to the world ideas that don't exist yet, or they're really innovative differentiation or riffs on existing ideas that just the world has never seen before. These are typical signals of what's to come in a particular category or product type if they perform well on Kickstarter. So check out Kickstarter. You can look at previous campaigns that have been successful. Again, we'll provide a link down below on where you can find what those successful campaigns are. Another one is getting old school and getting analog, which is going to industry trade shows or conferences. So if you've got a particular brand, concept, or niche that you're looking at, look at conferences that are available. Sometimes they're online, sometimes they're in person, but you can get a whack load of ideas just from walking and experiencing these trade shows that may exist for your particular niche. And in addition to Kickstarter, there's also Indiegogo, which is another major platform. Again, we'll provide a link below to Indiegogo where you can look at those trends.
Last but not least, it's called Exploding Topics. Just go to explodingtopics.com and you are able to subscribe to a newsletter. And once you subscribe to a newsletter, every single week or two, they're going to send you a newsletter with regards to what's actually trending. So trending, you can definitely find some really cool products. These are some amazing ways. But it is hard to catch a trend, right? It's like a surfer catching that wave. So it is somewhat difficult. But having said that, if you can find the right product that is trending, that is emerging, then you might have a winner for sure. And I would say that the more you know about a certain industry, you know what's actually trending, right? If you're, a woman and you love makeup, you love, to go to Sephora, you like to doll yourself up. You know what the trending ingredients are for the next generation of makeup. You know what the new methods are for removing acne because you kind of surround yourself in that environment. And same as golfers. Every single year, there's golf trade shows. We'll go to a golf trade show. There's some new emerging products. So again, kind of going back to the very first one, which is finding something you're passionate about. Now you can see how finding something you're passionate about can really lead to success in other aspects of your Amazon business, including product research, just because you know so much about that particular industry.
Yeah, and one thing I would just wrap this up on this particular concept again, we're not trying to validate whether or not it's a good idea yet. This is a brainstorming phase. We will have an additional video on identifying what a fad product is, because sometimes an exploding trend may be a fad, like a fidget spinner.
Yes.
Versus a concept like 4 years ago, if you got into keto, keto's not going away. It may change or wane over time, but it's not going to be a spike and crash. So again, just jot these ideas down. We'll talk about how to actually validate them later and ensuring that you don't do a fad product. So this video is around the concept of niching down. So oftentimes particular product categories or niches will be very broad. And when they're very broad, it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what you want to sell. But one of the strategies you can do is you can actually go onto Amazon. You can click on, say, sport and outdoors. Then you can go to golf. And then underneath golf, there's a lot of individual smaller subcategories that you can then look to find additional product ideas that you may not have ever thought of. So a cool example that we did when we did the golf niche example was there's a whole fleet of products around golf carts. And I wouldn't have thought of that, but there's batteries for golf carts, there's tires, there's wheels, there's accessories for golf carts. Never would have thought of that unless I niched down. And so take a look at a broader category and kind of go slower down. And those tend to be really unique ideas as well as less competitive ideas.
Yeah, another example is dog products, right? So earlier we had talked about, dogs, you can dog food or dog beds or dog harness and stuff like that. But a brand that I saw that was really, really cool was actually a brand where they sell products for golden retrievers specifically. And then there's another brand that sells products for Frenchies specifically. So obviously Frenchies are super cute. So they created all these like super cute like backpacks for Frenchies and a little harness for Frenchies. But it's just awesome that, if you take a really big category, you niche down, you can actually find a lot of golden gems. So instead of thinking from a 30,000 feet level, really dial in and be like, hey, out of dogs, what are some of the niches within the dog of golf? What are some of the niches within golf? Hey guys, I want to give you a very practical example of further explaining this theory of niching down. I think it's a very powerful use case if you know how to apply this properly. So one of my products was the micro needle derma roller. Now, the micro needle derma roller has many different uses. So you can use it to roll on your skin, and your skin will actually look more plump. It will look better, and a lot of women use that for their skin. Now, there's another usage for this micro needle derma roller, which is actually beard growth. So if you were to, use a roller on your face or in other parts of your body, it actually stimulates hair growth. Now, obviously, that's not targeted towards women. It's more of a men product. So what's really interesting is that this one product have different use cases. And what you can do is you can actually build a brand off of just that one use case. So for example, if you go on Amazon right now and type in derma roller, you'll actually see a lot of beard rollers. These beard rollers have very masculine branding. They're like black, dark, targeted towards men. And at the same time, you see a lot of derma rollers like ours, which is all female stuff like, oh, make your skin look better. So what I'm trying to say is you can find a product that have many different use cases, and you can build a brand off of one of those use cases. And then that, like some of these, beard rollers, they're doing really, really well. Like they're selling tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. So if you find a product and it has many different use cases, start thinking about, okay, can I separate one of the use cases and actually build a brand off of that one use case?
Yeah, Tom, great example. Another one, so you use the example of taking an existing product, exact same product, using it for a different application. You can also take a product and target a different customer type completely. So one of the best examples I've seen is actually a 9-figure brand on Amazon called Dude Wipes. So there's these bathroom wipes that if you don't want to use toilet paper, a little bit cleaner, they're marketed by Procter & Gamble to kind of the general audience of people buying toilet paper, etc. What Dude Wipes did is it took a very similar product and it obviously branded it Dude Wipes, so it's obviously for guys, and all of their language, all of their photography, how they focus on specific customer segments is all oriented around dudes and men. And this is a brand that's done, again, over 9 figures on Amazon alone. They're in Walmart. They're in a lot of other stores now. So I think this concept of seeing a product that seems really, really competitive, don't necessarily let that scare you. Because if you go a layer or two deeper, you look at different applications, you look at different customer types, there may be a new opportunity that's less competitive where you can take that core product, rebrand it, refocus it, reframe it, and find success in a niche down approach.
Yeah, it's kind of like repositioning the product for a specific customer. And that's why understanding your customer is so important. Another example I can give you is right now, like red light therapy is like super, super popular. There's one guy, took the red lights and actually just made a red light helmet for like men with and women actually who have hair growth issues. So taking something that's already working and then niching down for one specific, part of the body. Another example, like just a generalized example, right? If you think about, this morning I was driving down the street, right? I saw a cleaner on the side of the street and they had a car and they were advertising themselves as like short-term rental Airbnb cleaners. So we know that there's many different types of cleaners that can come into your house, but there are many different use cases of cleaners. So what they decided to do was actually own a sub-market of the cleaning business, which is just for Airbnb and short rentals. And then they just went after that market because now they can actually speak to that target market so clearly. They can say languages like, hey, do you have the same day check-in, check-out guests? So someone who runs an Airbnb is like, yeah, I do. Like this person understands my problem. So there's many different types of cleaners as well, right? So same as restaurants, really, if you think about it. Restaurants are super niche down, The restaurants that don't do well are the restaurants that like serve everything. Like the other day I was walking past a restaurant in downtown. I swear to God, like I was like, what the hell is going on here? They're like, oh, come in for like breakfast and like eggs and like ham and stuff like that. It's like, cool, it's like a brunch spot. But no, they have like, oh, $2 tequila shots like on the side. I'm like, okay, so is this a bar? Is this a restaurant? Is this a breakfast restaurant? For those that are in Vancouver, you guys know a place called OBE. It's like a religion in Vancouver. Like brunch is a religion. And people, the lineup outside this place is freaking insane. Why is that? First, I have good food. So that's like your product on Amazon. You got to have a good product. But second of all, they're super niche down. They only serve brunch. That's it. They're open from like 8 until 3. Brunch only. No lunch, no dinner. Everything's brunch. So when you sell a product on Amazon, don't try to boil an ocean. Like find a specific use case and then just hone in on that. Be well known for that one thing in that market. So the next time someone's like, oh, I need a beard roller, they think of your brand. Oh, I want to go for a brunch, they think of your brand. Not, oh, if I'm hungry, like where should I go? Because there's just so many competition out there.
Yeah, Tom, and just to close the loop on this, I think what you'll find interesting about this conversation in this video is we're talking about business concepts here. And a lot of Amazon-centric sellers think about things in a very specific Amazon lens. And because of that, they don't find themselves able to compete against more sophisticated business strategies. So what we're talking about here is just general business strategy and applying that with Amazon know-how as a channel to really, really hone in and find success.
Yeah, like one more example. I love this stuff. But one more example like I can give you is, let's say you're a bookkeeper, okay? Who do you do bookkeeper for? So do you do bookkeeper for Amazon sellers specifically? Do you do bookkeeping for all the different businesses? Know who your target market is. Get really good at serving one segment of the market. Once you are well established in that segment, then you can move on to another segment. But don't try to do bookkeeping for, oh, I'm a bookkeeper for Amazon sellers, trucking companies, taxi companies, restaurants. Your operation is not even going to be that smooth because now you're dealing with so many different types of customers. If you're just dealing with Amazon sellers, not only can you attract more because you know how to talk to them and advertise them, but your internal business operations is actually going to run more smoothly as well. So yeah, absolutely agree with you. These are very generalized business principles that even if you have a small business today, I challenge you to start thinking about that.
All right, so this next video for generating ideas is all about ChatGPT. If you haven't heard about ChatGPT, it's a really cool AI tool that you can actually type things in and then it will use and scrape data from its algorithm to basically provide information and a response. And what's really cool about ChatGPT in the context of generating Amazon ideas is there's actually a bunch of different prompts that will help and guide you with things that you may not have even thought of. We're going to include some instructions down below on how to actually access ChatGPT and what you need to do to set up an account. We're also going to have a Google Doc with all of the different prompts that we recommend to leverage for generating ideas using ChatGPT. We're going to talk about and show actual examples here in this video, but we're also going to build out that document over time. So if you want the latest prompts that we're using for ChatGPT, both in this video and maybe some new ones that aren't in this video, check out that link down below. So the first one is literally just to go in and say, what are some of the trending products in XYZ niche? For this particular example, we've got what are some trending products in baking. And you can see that ChatGPT has kind of generated 10 different ideas here that we can then assess and add to our tracker. Just kind of scouting this out, there's some interesting ones that I hadn't even thought of, which is like molds around baking pans, cake decorating tools. Never would have thought of that one. There's bake themed clothing and aprons. Again, would have never thought about that at all. So you can generate these ideas and these prompts and put them in the tracker. Let's look at another prompt here that we recommend, which is what are some of the products that are not too large and that are made of sustainable materials? Again, a little bit broad, but may generate some unique ideas based on features. So you can take a look at those ideas. There's 10 different ideas around sustainable materials. Another prompt here is what are some product ideas for selling to people with a particular problem? So in this case, we've selected diabetes. So you've got a very specific customer avatar and you want to find out ideas for selling to them. So there's some really interesting ones here that I had never heard of and never thought of, like insulin carrying cases. Throw that in your tracker. This one's super unique and I never thought about this, which is water bottles with measurement to help track fluid intake for people with diabetes. So you can also use prompts for people with actual challenges or problems or pain points. Another one is just list 10 product ideas that has to do with a particular niche. I've just thrown in pickleball here and there's 10 different ideas that have come up for pickleball. Riffing on that customer avatar concept again, you can choose a particular customer avatar and generate ideas. So which products do moms need to buy on a regular basis? So we want to find some frequency stuff here. So these are all things that people may not purchase just once, but purchase multiple times. So those are 5 of the core really easy ones to generate ideas. Again, check out that Google Doc down below. We're going to build this list out over time. But ChatGPT is absolutely fundamentally cool and innovative for generating ideas. And again, something that not a lot of Amazon and e-commerce sellers are leveraging today.
Criteria number 1 is demand. So it's pretty common sense, right? If nobody wants your product, then no one's going to buy it. If everybody wants your product, then everybody's going to buy it. So what's really cool about Amazon FBA is the fact that you're able to judge demand before you get into a niche, before you launch a product. I think this is so helpful, right? Imagine that you're opening up like a Chinese restaurant or any sort of restaurants, and you go to this part of the town. You're essentially able to see the demand of how many people like Chinese food, what kind of dishes they want before you even open up the restaurant. So I just think overall from a business perspective, this is so powerful. The fact that we're able to find demand on Amazon before we actually launch the product itself. So some products already have demand and some don't have demand. Now, for the products that don't have demand yet, you as an entrepreneur needs to create demand. How do we do that? Well, we have to educate our customers. So it's not impossible if a product, let's say you found, doesn't have demand and you're like, hey, I know this product can change lives, but people don't really know about it yet. But what we will say is try to do your best to stay away from those type of products, because unless you're someone who's a very seasoned marketer or seasoned entrepreneur, you know how to educate and you have a lot of budget to be spending on education, then it's going to be actually a very, very difficult task for you to do.
Yeah, and a good way to think about this, Tom, is let's imagine that you came upon the keto trend like 7 years ago when it was very, very, very niche. Maybe only a handful of people in, say, the CrossFit community knew about it. No one's typing in keto anything into Amazon 7 years ago. So you'd have to actually create that demand, get them to actually go to your listing, and you're not capitalizing on what Amazon's good at, which is a fleet of hundreds of millions of buyers that are typing in keywords. So we actually want to find an existing amount of demand that we can tap into and ride the coattails of the Amazon platform and capture that revenue less expensively than you would as a traditional marketer.
So on Amazon, there are 2 ways to see if a product has demand or not. So the first one is basically called search volume. Now, what search volume is simply put, how many searches per month that this product is actually generating on Amazon. Or we can just go on Amazon actually. So I installed a Chrome extension on Helium 10, and you can see right away that Amazon is telling me that this word derma roller has 60,000 searches per month. Derma roller hair growth has 11,000 searches per month. So here's another example. If I type in the word vitamin C serum, Helium 10 is actually telling me 110,000 people per month are actually looking up this keyword. So this is super, super cool, right? You can actually see the amount of searches per month everybody's looking at month over month as well. So it gives you the search volume trend. It's down 11% over the past month. Again, you could have the best product in the world, but if no one actually knows your product exists, or if there's no search terms attached or associated to your product and people are not looking this product up on Amazon yet, then who are you actually selling this product to? you can generate that interest by educating people, by running Facebook ads or Instagram ads or TikTok ads and speaking to customers. But again, the education part of that actually takes a lot of time and resources.
One other point here, Tom, is it's okay if something's on the uptrend or you actually anticipate through some of the product research methods that we've talked about that we're in the early stages of this and maybe it's going to be bigger in 6 months, 12 months. That's actually a good thing. But what you do want is you want to have at least a foundational element of demand and search volume. So you don't want to be starting from scratch, but it's okay if it's smaller now than you anticipate it to be. That can actually be an advantage if you get on to a particular product category before a lot of other people do. That's a great way to grow. So it's a balancing act of existing demand and what you anticipate that demand to be in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is pretty easy, right? Let's say you think of a product, you want to sell, spatula or cups or whatever it might be, right? You simply go on Amazon, use Helium-10, you type the word in, and it will actually give you the search terms per month and telling you, hey, this keyword is getting 60 or 30 or 6,000 searches per month. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Now, the second one is actually conversion. So basically how this works is on Amazon, there are different categories. So just like if you were walked into Walmart, there's different aisles, there's different sections. Same as on Amazon. You can imagine this to be like the online version of Walmart. If you were to go on Amazon.com and click on all, you can actually click on best sellers. And over here, it will actually give you all the departments on Amazon. So you can see that there's appliance, there's arts, there's baby, there's beauty, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, some of these departments are actually really good for private label, which is the business model we're in. Some are not. For example, like CDs and vinyls. We're not going to create our own CDs, right? Like digital music, we're not going to do that. But having said that, what we'll do is we'll create a PDF down below that's more of a complementary PDF with regards to what I'm about to say here. So the first thing you need to understand is there's different categories. Now, the second thing you need to understand is I'm just going to click into any category here, like beauty and personal care. So once I click on that, you can see right away that these are the best sellers. So what that means is under beauty and personal care, this product right here, Mighty Patches, is actually selling the most when it comes to sales velocity. So the number of units being sold per hour, this particular product is actually selling the most out of every single product in beauty and personal care. So you can imagine how crazy that is, right? Now, the second product is this listing, third is this, and fourth is this. Now, again, the way they actually measure this, who gets first, who gets second, who gets third, is purely based on sales velocity. And again, that means how many units per hour is this particular listing selling. So let's say that this listing right now is selling, I don't know, like 100 units an hour. This one is selling 200 units an hour. But all of a sudden, tomorrow, Kim Kardashian decides to promote this product. Then boom, all of a sudden, there's a huge rush of this product, huge demand of this product. Now this product is starting to sell 300 units per hour. This will actually become the best seller in this category, assuming that this one does 200 units per hour. Now over here is we can actually see there are subcategories. So under beauty and personal care, this is a very broad category. Just like if you were to go to, again, walking down the aisle into the meat section or the dairy section or the supplement section, right? The meat section or the dairy section, for example, there's like, here's all the eggs, here's all the milk, here's all the cheese, right? Now you can actually go into the subcategories. So let's say that we go into tools and accessories. So this is the subcategory of beauty and personal care. And now they have a new bestseller. So this bestseller is actually the #1 seller in this subcategory. Then there's subcategories below that. So if we go to skincare tools, then there's actually subcategory, and then there's more subcategories. So the point I'm trying to make here is just to give you an idea of like what these categories mean. So when we say BSR, what we refer to is actually the main category. We're not talking about the BSR of any subcategories. So basically, if you're selling the most in your category, you have a best-selling rank of #1. If you're selling the least, you can have a BSR of like 300, 400, 500,000. So whatever your BSR is, it can actually dictate how many units per day you're actually selling. Again, something that has lower BSR, you're selling a lot more. Something with a higher BSR, you're selling a lot less. So if we type in, for example, derma roller, we open up Helium-10 and we click on the X-ray tool, what it'll allow us to see is everybody's BSRs. And what this means, like, why is this important, right? What this means is that if you can take a look, everybody had pretty low BSR. So I'm talking about hundreds or the thousands. Anything in beauty and personal care under 30,000 BSR, you know that they're making money. So why is this important? Well, it's important because we know that people are actually buying this product on Amazon. So just because someone like keyword gets a lot of searches, but no one buys this product, their BSR will be very, very high. Because how BSR can get low is simply by the number of sales that this listing is making. So what it's telling me here is that all these people are making good money. So, I mean, you can take a look at it yourself, right? 300,000, 187,000, 122,000, 30,000, 88,000. I mean, these are amazing listings. They're all making great money. So it tells me that people are actually buying this product. Now, if you go to a category and all the BSRs are super high, so like 50,000, 60,000, 100,000. So I'll show you another example. So this will be like, Christmas tree, because like no one's buying Christmas trees right now, right? It's like March by the time we're filming this. So if I click on it, you can see that there's only, 1,600 people per month looking for Christmas tree. And what's really cool is you can click on this little graph and you can actually see the all-time searches as well. And this is obvious, right? Like people only buy Christmas trees in December or November. And you can see that once September comes around, October comes around, the search volume starts getting up and all the procrastinators over here, December comes around, 220,000 searches per month for Christmas trees in December. Whereas now it's only 1,600. Well, it makes perfect sense. However, farther, if I take this a little bit farther, if we go to Christmas trees right now and we actually use Helium-10 and go to product market research, what you can see is that everybody's BSR, I can guarantee you this, is extremely high. Why is it high? Because there's no sales. Remember, BSR can only be lowered by sales velocity. When people buy this product, that's when sales go lower and lower and lower. If we take a look at, again, this is Helium-10, 226,000, 148,000, 143,000. These guys are not selling at all. And that's why their BSR is super, super high. So anyways, a lot of people get confused about this like BSR thing. It's really, really simple. If you're selling a lot, you have a low BSR. If you're not selling a lot, you have a high BSR. And BSR just tells me how many units you're selling. The more units you're selling, the more money you're making. That's it. There's a correlation between search volume and BSR, right? So for example, right now, there's only 1,600 people per month looking up Christmas trees, so the BSR is super high. But I can guarantee you, if I were to look back in this listing in December, the BSR is going to be super low and the search volume is super high, 220,000 searches per month. So what we'll do is in every single video going forward, we have some criterias, we have some rules that we're going to link down below. And these are kind of the rules of like, hey, if you're going to sell in beauty and personal care, you should have a product where on page 1, your top 10 competitors, there should be at least 3 or 4 listings that has a BSR of 30 or 20,000 or under, or the keyword that you're looking at that you want to sell, it needs to have a search volume of, let's say, over 20,000 or 30,000. So we're just going to include some of those criteria down below. These are basically going to be your kind of North Stars or your checkpoints so that when you do launch a product, we're going to make sure the product you launch has demand. Hey guys, I'm going to give you a quick example of demand. This way you learn the theory, but you also see a practical example, right? And for me, I'm just going to use a bunch of golfing stuff because I recently got into golf and I just been absolutely hooked. So it's something that I'm passionate about right now, something that I'm super interesting. But for you, it might be something else, right? You might be like, oh, I love my dog. I love my, kitchen stuff. I love, knitting. I love whatever. So the example itself doesn't really matter because you're still following the same process, okay? So basically, I thought of, can I launch golf gloves on Amazon? And right now, all I want to do is check demand. So the first thing we want to do is open up the Amazon recommended BSR range. You can download this file in the last video underneath below. So for golf gloves, right now, this will be under sporting goods. So sporting and outdoors. And right now, the rule is we want to find 3 competitors under 20,000 BSR. And again, this just means like how many competitors are actually selling well. That's really what it means. And if none of our competitors are selling well, then we probably shouldn't be in this category because there's not really enough sales. There's not really enough demand. So all I want to do is click on the Helium 10 Chrome extension, click on the Amazon product research tool called X-Ray. And then from here, it's going to pull up some information. So on the top left side here, I see that it has a search volume of 11,000 searches per month. If I were to click on this chart and click on full time, I can see that what the historical trend of this product is as well. And it's very interesting, right? Golf is more of a summer sport. So you can see that around this time, this is Christmas. So I guess, that makes sense. A lot of people during Christmas want to buy this as a gift for golfers. So during the summertime, I can definitely see the peaks. I can definitely see the valleys, right? During this time was COVID-19 and, a lot of people got into golf during that time. And so it's really, really cool to actually just see the historical trend. And over here, you can actually see Google as well, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, anyways. So we can see that it's got 11,000 searches per month, right? Which is great. That means enough people are actually looking for golf gloves. And this number, obviously, like the bigger the better. But we always want kind of the main keyword to have at least like 5,000 searches per month, right? That means enough people are actually looking for this product on Amazon, which is great. Yeah, so now we want to basically take a look at the top 10 competitors. So who are our top 10? Well, so we don't want to include anything with SP. SP means sponsored listing. That means they're paying to be here. We want to take a look at the ones without SP. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So take a look at the top 9 here. And in the top 9, what we want to do is we want to take a look at the BSR. So you can see that this one's 17, 600, 8,000, 84, 353, 2,000. So the BSR is very low, right? Again, what was our criteria? Under sports and outdoors, 3 competitors under 20,000 BSR. If this is under. So almost everybody's under. So what does that mean? It means a lot of people are searching for this product and the BSR itself is very, very low, meaning people are actually buying this product. And if you take a look at the revenues, man, like this person's making $500,000 per month, $100,000 per month, $250,000 per month. So people are making money, right? And you can also see that the lower the BSR, right, 17, this means in the sports and outdoors category, they're the 17th best seller. They're making so much money, right? So the lower the BSR, the more the revenue, usually most of the case, right? So yeah, this is an example of how to actually find demand for the product that you possibly want to sell.
Okay, so the second criteria of the scorecard is really about evaluating the competition, and more specifically, evaluating the existing competition for the actual product category you're looking at in comparison to the idea that you actually have and the offer that you're looking to create. This is a little bit of art and it's a little bit of science, but the best rule of thumb to think about is, do you actually believe that your offer and your product idea and your price has a place in the top 10 for some of the core search terms? Some of your competition might have thousands of reviews and might have been around for many years. That's definitely a warning sign, because you've got to take a product that's starting from scratch with no reviews and you've got to outcompete that. There's got to be a reason for customers typing that search term to buy your product. There's also likely going to be some offers in there that are fairly new and that are a little bit easier to compete against. What you don't want to do is to get into a weight class above your weight and you're fighting against a lot of competitors with a lot of reviews, with really compelling offers and prices that make it hard to justify customers buying your product. You want to find that sweet spot where there's enough demand, like we talked about in the last category, but where you actually are facing competitors where you can place yourself in that top 10 comfortably. It doesn't mean you need to be number 1, number 2, or even number 3, but you want to be able to see yourself successfully competing in the top quarter page of page 1 with your offer that you have starting from scratch. So let's look at a quick example of a product that I'm actually going to be launching soon for my brand Rideo, kids push bikes. And this is what the first page of results look like for the core search term kids balance bike. So we can see here on a lot of these front pages, we've got some with thousands of reviews that have been around for a while. But if we actually look at the top one, if you want to scroll up a bit, Tom, this top bike Credo, again, 364 reviews. And the bike that I'm actually creating is a folding kids push bike. So it's got a very unique feature. It's going to stand out and look different than what's on the first page. So just from a gut feel standpoint, I feel like I can slot in here in the top 10. I can compete against some of these offers that haven't been around for a while, and even some of the ones with thousands of reviews, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 reviews. They're kind of basic bikes, and I feel like our brand and our function of a folding bike slots in well here. So just from a gut feel test, I'm comfortable competing against these offers on the first page. Now let's kind of play a different perspective. Let's say that all these are 10,000 reviews, 20,000 reviews, and I really am honest about my offer and don't really feel like I've got a compelling price to feature benefit against these offers. That means it's going to be a high-risk product, and it's going to be a lower chance that I can succeed in that top 10 of organic search. So it's a balancing act of looking at what your offer is, starting from scratch. Do you have a compelling case for people to buy?
Yeah, and I would add on, the more reviews your niche has, so if everybody have 3,000 reviews, that's a lot of reviews, right?
Yeah.
I would say the more compelling your offer needs to be.
100%.
Now, if let's say everybody on page 1 has 5 reviews, 6 reviews, then you should still have a compelling offer, but the less importance that will be. So it's more about how many reviews my competitors has. Again, if they have a lot of reviews, you gotta stand out. You gotta have a good product. You gotta have a good product offering. You gotta understand your customers, and you really gotta go in there with a unique product offering. If everybody on page 1 has 10, 50, 100, 200 reviews, is a new category, it's a new product, we still encourage you for you to have a product offering. But again, it's not going to be as important in the short term. In the long term, it's still going to be that important. Another thing I kind of look at sometimes is the creation date, or the date that this listing went live on Amazon. So if you open up Helium 10 again and open up X-Ray product research, go to the very right under product, under the creation date, you can see that some of these were back in 2014. Some of these are 2018. So what does that tell you? Well, I would say the more mature listings, the harder they are to compete against. They've kind of been there, they've got their space, and they really, put their flag down and kind of occupied that territory. Whereas let's say if a lot of people are new, then people are still trying to fight, their own perspective categories, or they're still trying to fight for their own territories. So you can definitely get in there and really earn your share as well. But yeah, I mean, these are the two things that we look at. We look at the reviews, we look at the date, and we look at also who the competitors are. So we have a video on just competitor analysis. Are they huge brands? Do their business have hundreds of employees? Or are they just another solo entrepreneur like yourself or ourselves? And obviously, the latter one's a lot easier to compete against. So yeah, that's a little bit about competition. Make sure you know who your competitors are and see where you can fit into the greater picture. Hey guys, so before you launch your product on Amazon, it's important for you to know who your competitors are. So earlier, Adam has mentioned that, you want to make sure that you're not competing with people that are multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar corporations. And there are a lot of them that sell products on Amazon, right? Why is that? Well, just think about it. Business is a competitive sport. And at the end of the day, if they have hundreds of employees and you're just a solopreneur, it's not going to be a fair battle, right? Not saying you can't win, but it's just going to be a little bit tougher, battle. So in this video, what I want to show you is how to actually do some competitor research. I think you're going to find this super interesting. So let's say that I want to sell dog supplement on Amazon, right? So I type that in. And then I scroll down, so I see this, this listing right here, Zesty Paws. They have 22,000 reviews, which is freaking insane, by the way. Yeah. But so I'm like, okay, well, they look like a pretty big seller. They have 22,000 reviews. They've probably been selling for a long, long time. So there are a few different steps, different checkpoints that I recommend for you to do to see how big this company is. The first thing I would do is simply go on their Instagram, right? Everybody have Instagram these days, or TikTok. And I would just type in Zesty Paws. Like, you can click the search button, type in Zesty Paws, and boom, I see that they have 72,000 followers and they have a blue check mark. Probably a pretty big brand. Wow, they have a lot of social media presence. Someone's managing the social media presence, right? A small company probably wouldn't be able to do this good of a job, maybe, but that they are, they got their social media strategy down. So, all right, like, they definitely know what they're doing. The second place is I go on their website. So I simply go on Google and I type in like Zesty Paws, and then the website popped up. And what I recommend for you guys to do is go on Google Chrome. So you have to use Google Chrome and then download a extension called Similar Web. Once you install this extension, you can go on any website and click on it, and it will actually give you the amount of traffic they're getting per month. So I can see right now that in the month of January 2023, they received 112,000 people on their website. And sometimes you don't even need Similar Web. You can just take a look at their website and be like, wow, like this is a really good looking website. A lot of Amazon brands don't even have websites like this. So you know that they are somewhat of a big brand. Another thing I love to do is I like to go on LinkedIn and type in Zesty Paws to see if they have a LinkedIn page. And sure, they do. And look at that. They have 54 employees. And last but not least, I like to use Facebook ad library. I think this is a really cool tool that a lot of people don't use. But basically, you just go to, what you can do is you can go to Facebook ad library, simply type that into Google, and click on the very first link. You have to make sure that your ad blocker is off. So if you don't have ad blocker, you're good, but you have to make sure that your ad blocker is off for this page. And basically from here, what you want to do is you want to click all. And then add category, you also want to click all. And over here is where you can basically type in the brand name. So in this case, that's the Paws. I found their page right here. I clicked on it. And you can also see that they're running about 14 different ads. So they're running ads on Facebook. These are all the advertising they're doing on Facebook, right? So all that to be said, you know, they have 54 employees. They receive 100,000 people per month on their website. They definitely have a very big team, and this will be like a very, very tough competitor to go against. Again, not saying that you can never launch a dog supplement product. All we're saying is if you want to compete with this particular player, you better bring your A game. You better, you know, really consume the course. You better have a great product differentiation or innovation. You better study marketing. You better study social media and really invest a lot of money into your business in order to compete with this person. But the good news for you guys is that, you know, a lot of niches, most Amazon sellers are lazy, so they don't have all these big employees or running Facebook ads or a big social media page. So a lot of times, you know, you're not going to find much, which is a good sign, because if you can actually do a good job at these things, you're going to be able to absolutely crush them. So this is how to do competitor research. And the last thing I would say is make sure you order some samples, make sure you order their product to test it, to see how it is, and also buy their product online. What I like to do is sometimes I like to buy their product or enter in my email or just pretend to be a customer to see how their business is actually run. How many emails do they send me? What kind of discounts are they using? You can actually find out a lot of information about that. So this is a great brand. They've done very, very well. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. All right, back to our example of competition. So we want to take a look at some of the competitors. How we do that, again, is by clicking on Helium 10. Again, we are going to be using golf gloves as an example. Click on X-ray. And over here is basically I can see a lot of brands. So FootJoy, TaylorMade, Generic, Callaway, Zero Friction, Puma Golf, FootJoy, Kirkland, Palm, Pentanes. So I'm taking a look at the brand name. Now, if you are not sure if these are big brand names, all you need to do is copy the brand name and then go to Google and put it in, right? Type in FootJoy, and you can see that they have a website over here. And wow, like this is not some small, you know, mom and pop shop, right? You can see right away, like, wow, this is a big brand. Now, because I'm, you know, a golfer and I know this brand, they're massive. They're one of the biggest golf brands, right? So if we're to go back to Amazon, TaylorMade, same thing. Again, if you're not sure if this is a big brand, you just go on Google and take a look. And TaylorMade is a massive brand. Callaway is a massive brand. So right away, what kind of rings some alarm bells, again, this is not a deal breaker necessarily, but I'm just saying that, hey, there's a lot of big brands that people know, and you're going to be competing against these big brands. Now, what does that mean? It means you have to make your product so much better. You need to make your product so much more different. If these are smaller brands, then maybe, hey, like it's not a big deal, right? But these are huge brands. In order for me to fight someone in my weight class, I got to get up to their weight class, right? So super important for you to take a look at who you're competing against, right? And the second thing is we want to take a look at the reviews. So scroll over to the review count. You can see, my gosh, 22,000 reviews, 2,000 reviews, 27,000 reviews. And you can see that the average review on page 1 right here is 2,700 reviews. That is a lot of reviews, right? That's a lot of reviews. So what is not a lot of reviews? Well, not a lot of reviews. I would say if the average is like 200. Now, just because the average review is higher, it does not mean that you cannot launch this product. All it means is that you have some serious competition. And what that means is that you better make your product different. You better make your product stand out. You better make your product, really just capture the attention of whoever's looking for golf gloves, right? That much more. If people on page 1 don't have a lot of reviews, then maybe you don't have to do that much work. So that's kind of what it means. I'm not saying that you cannot compete against these big brands. I'm not saying you cannot launch this product because the average reviews is high. All I'm saying is that if that's the case, then you really, really have to do a good job with your product offering, which is something we're going to be teaching you, right? So it's just something for you to be aware of, right? And then, as I was scrolling through this, I want to show you an example. So this is a funny ball holder pouch sack. So this is for people holding their golf balls, right? I would say that it's a pretty competitive product as well. Like if you were to go to ball holder, let's see. So I typed in golf ball holder and you can see that, there's a lot of different types of golf ball holders, right? There's a lot of different types of variations, right? So if we were to click on helium-10 again and click on X-ray, just to take a look at kind of the data on page 1 here, we can see that, there's not a lot of people. So this is a perfect example of a product that doesn't have a lot of demand. Now, mind you, I might not be looking the right keyword. There's multiple ways to actually find this word. Maybe someone types in ball holder or golf holder or something like that. And those keywords might be the main keyword. So how do I know that? Well, I can click on this related keywords and it's going to give me some, again, relating keywords that has to do with this particular product. And I just want to verify that this is in fact the keyword. Yeah. So, this is the main keyword, right? So there's not a lot of searches per month, but I digress. That's more about demand. So that's the earlier chapter. If we were to, say, Tom, I want to launch this product. Hey, maybe if you have a low budget, this could be a good product for you to launch. The average review is a little bit lower, so 280, but that's a great way to stand out, right? The one you saw earlier. That's a great way to actually stand out among the marketplace by the design. So the more competition that this niche has, then the more different your product has to be. Now you might say, well, how do I make it different? That's when you really got to know this particular market. If you're not a golfer, it's going to be very hard for you to come up with that differentiation. If you are a golfer, then you probably know what needs to be improved of these golf gloves, right? Again, stuff that we're going to teach you a little bit later down the road, but I just want to kind of give you a quick example of how competition works. All right, it takes money to make money, right? So in this type of business, especially a physical product-based business, private label business, you need to buy inventory, you need to pay for shipping. That requires cash. Now, how much cash do you need and do you have will dictate what kind of products you will launch. Because ultimately, if you don't have a lot of money, then you can't launch certain type of products. You can still find products to launch, but a lot of those options will basically not be accessible for you. Now, also, something that's really important is that there's multiple ways to do things. And this is what I see from a lot of students, is that the very first time we do anything in life, we tend to make mistakes. And that is the same with Amazon business, right? If you're not going to make a single mistake and you're just going to do everything perfectly, you'll be a billionaire already. And unfortunately, I hope you're a billionaire. If you are, please reach out to me. I'd like to get to know you, but you're probably not a billionaire. So the point I'm trying to make is that this is a journey, right? It takes time, it takes effort, and basically it's a learning experience. Now, if you're someone with low budget and low expertise, meaning you just came in this Amazon FBA world, what I recommend is basically dipping your feet in the water. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean to empty out your wallet. It doesn't mean to empty out your bank account. It doesn't mean to take on letter of credit. what I recommend is really take the budget you have and learn with it. So what that means is that, something I really recommend for my students to do, if that's the case, is this. Let's say you have $5,000 to start. The first thing I would tell you to do is divide that 5,000 by 2. So $2,500 plus $2,500 is $5,000. I want you to put one of those $2,500 away. Just imagine you never had that. So now you're with you have $2,500 left. Then what I want you to do is divide that by 2. So if you have $2,500 divided by 2, that's $1,250 plus $1,250. Now I want $1,250 of that to go towards your inventory. And I want the other $1,250 to actually go towards your marketing and other things to set up your business. So now you have a budget of $2,500. And basically, you cannot order thousands and thousands of units with that, right? So all you have to do is really to order at least 500 units. Because see, now the thing is, if you do make a mistake, you get to make it with very low risk. You get to make it with a very low amount of inventory. I see some students ordering tens and not tens, but thousands, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 units. And it's their first time doing Amazon. So let me ask you the question. Well, what if something goes wrong? What if you made a mistake? Now you have thousands of units that you're basically storing in Amazon that will charge you monthly fees. And that's scary. That can add up, right? And on top of that, they don't have any more money left. So they're in a really, really, really bad situation. So it's my job to deter all my beginner students from actually entering into that situation at all costs. And how you do that is simply by dipping your feet in the water. For your very first product, just order 500 units. Now do everything else we say in terms of photos, title, copywriting, listing optimization, keywords, which I will teach you in the future videos. But in terms of the actual inventory itself, order very little. Then on the very first order, you will be able to see if you can actually make this profitable or not. You will be able to see if this product you have, this product offering you have, has any sort of steam or not. Because if it does, you will start selling out a lot. Now that's the good side. That's the pro. The pro is that your risk is very, very low. But what about the con? Well, the con now is that you will most likely run out of stock because you don't have a lot of units. Let's say you order 500 units and then every day you sell 10 units a day. You only have 50 days of stock. Sometimes it can take up to 2 to 3 months for you to actually restock. So that means for a period of time, you are actually going to be out of stock. Now, when you're out of stock on Amazon, that's not the best thing, but it's also not the worst thing. I think that getting stuck with thousands of inventory is actually much worse. So basically, if you're a beginner, right, just to summarize, take whatever available budget you have, divide by 2, put the other half away. Now, let's say with $5,000, you have $2,500, then divide that by 2. $1,250 will go towards inventory, $1,250 will go towards everything else, and then that's the amount that you're going to be working with. And you want to order at least 500 units of that product. But beware, you are going to run out of stock, but that's okay. This is a learning experience. When you restock, if you don't have a lot of reviews yet, we just recommend launching a new ASIN, which we'll talk about in the future videos. But yeah, that's pretty much what I recommend for beginners. And Adam will talk a little bit more about people with, a lot more money, a lot more expertise, and this is what they can do.
So what we've done here is we've actually created a product budget checker. Again, this is designed a little bit more for somebody that's likely had experience launching a product already. Maybe you're an intermediate seller on your second, third, fourth product, or you've actually had a lot of experience. In this case, you probably are comfortable with a little bit more risk. You've gone through the trials and tribulations of launching a product before. You're more comfortable. You have that intuition that you build up over time, in which case you can likely afford to take a little bit more risk because the probability of your success goes up with that experience. So this is a calculator that really helps you avoid going out of stock in those situations. And it also gives you a little bit more comfort level if you've got a bigger budget. So all you need to do for this particular spreadsheet is anything in yellow here for the inputs, you're basically just going to input those yourself. And then the rest of the items there are going to calculate, or you can edit as needed. So let's say as an example, we wanted to sell a product that was doing $30,000 a month. So we put in 30,000 there. And let's say that this product's going to be a $40 product in terms of target price. The next numbers are going to basically be an estimate for making sure you don't get out of stock, because it takes time to produce a product, it takes time to ship it, and so we want to order enough quantity to account for that. So in this case, we're assuming it's a 30-day production time, it's a 30-day transport time on the water, and you know what, maybe because we absolutely don't want to go out of stock, we may want to put 30 days of safety stock in there, which gives us even a little bit more buffer to order from. Then it's going to run some calculated units here. It's basically going to assume that the product COGS are roughly 30% of the selling price. You can also customize this if you know what the actual COGS are for your product. It's going to estimate creative costs of 500. Again, if you wanted to increase that to 1,000, if you know what your actual costs are for all your photography and graphics, you can update that. Everything else is basically going to be calculated based on some initial launch stuff. So we're assuming 25% of your costs at launch are going to go towards pay-per-click. Obviously, that goes down over time, but this gives us kind of an upfront budget. So to do a product that's doing $30,000 plus a month here, in the conservative kind of basic case, we're assuming it's going to cost you about $35,000. That includes the product that you need to order, all your marketing costs, setting up the listing, and ordering enough stock so that you don't stock out. So you're probably talking about 3+ months worth of inventory here. If you want to get a little bit more aggressive and say, hey, maybe I don't want to order as much because I want to still manage the risk a little bit, the low end of that is $28,000. And if you want to get even more aggressive, let's say that you've got more costs on marketing, other things, the upper range here is $46,000. These aren't hard and fast numbers. They're obviously calculated based on estimates, but this gives you a bit of a ballpark understanding if you wanted to be really, really flush with inventory, if you didn't want to stock out, if you're 80+% confident that you're going to find success with your launch and you've got experience, this is the way to go. If you're new to the game, first of all, start with the opportunity that's a little bit less on the revenue standpoint. We recommend less than $15,000 if you're just starting out, just less competition, less upfront costs. But then you can also use some of the methods in terms of analyzing your budget that Tom talked about, just to avoid that scenario where you're stuck with thousands of units in inventory and then you've got to wait another 6 months before you can launch a product.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you this, like, you know, my best friend Dan, who you guys seen in early videos, he has a multiple 7-figure business. He launched his Amazon business with $3,000. The derma roller that we launched, which is our third product, we launched that under around $3,000 as well. So do you need, you know, $35,000, $28,000, $50,000, $100,000 to launch an Amazon business? No, you don't. Like, how much did you launch your Amazon business?
Yeah, it was about the same. It was about $3,000 for my first product. Yeah.
So for your very first product, do not go all in. That's like saying, you know, you never swam before and you don't have a life jacket. You just jump right into the deep end. I mean, we highly don't recommend that. So for your very first product, pick a number that you're comfortable with. That's all. Like, everybody have different, like, you know, risk tolerance, right? Pick a number you're comfortable losing. Just say, hey, I'm just going to try this out and I'm comfortable losing. Like, I'm not going to be homeless if I lose this money. I'm not going to have to sell my house if I lose this money. Something that obviously no one likes to lose money. It's a bad feeling, but like something that won't affect your life too much.
Yeah.
And then from there, you work backwards. Okay, like if I have this much money, then what kind of product can I launch? So for the first product, I would say it's definitely a learning experience. Now, this calculator, one of the things here is that the biggest assumption here is like, hey, we're trying to help you not to run out of stock. If you're someone with more experience in terms of marketing, branding, business operations, if you have a lot more money, if your risk tolerance is higher, then this sheet is definitely a little bit more suitable for you. Even if that's for you, I would highly recommend for you to launch this business with very little as money as possible, because then you get to learn the game. Once you learn, that's when you earn. All right, let's talk about budget. So going off, you know, again, using golf gloves. So what we can do is we can take a look at how much golf gloves could be for us to actually source this on Alibaba. So we just got to go to alibaba.com, right? This is where, again, in the future videos, we're going to talk more in depth about Alibaba. But here, I just want to kind of show you how it works. So we type in golf gloves. And then over here, we get to see kind of the range for these golf gloves, right? We get to see some are $4, some are $15, some are $2, some are $1.80, some $1.80. You can definitely negotiate, right? You can definitely negotiate. Some are $6, but at least this can give you a number, right? A very rough number of what this possibly could be. Because ultimately, if you were to go back on Amazon and we see that going back to the X-ray tool, right? We see that the average price is $19. You know, this person is selling theirs for 19, 21, 11, 15, 27. So, you know, the maximum people are selling this product for is like $27, but on average is about $19. I want to make sure that this product, like from the numbers that I'm seeing right now, is somewhat reasonable, because ultimately, if these numbers are like $10 or $15, there's no way I'm going to make money by selling this product at $19, right? Because if I buy the product for $19 and I have to pay Amazon, I have to pay for shipping, at the end of the day, if I sell this product for 20 bucks, I'm not going to be able to actually make any money. So that's kind of all I'm looking for. And ultimately, what I want to see here is just enough a number where I'm like, all right, this is, of course you can negotiate, but ultimately I just want to do a quick check on Alibaba to make sure that I can actually make this product work. So in this case, if I can get this product for $2, sell for 19, hey, that's pretty good margins, right? And then the other thing we also kind of want to do is something called our target price, right? So we just want to open up some of our listings. So let's find someone in the $19 range. So this one is the $19 range, right? And what we want to do is click on Helium 10's tool again, click on Profitability Calculator. And then what we want to do is we want to simply go down here. So remember right now that we want this number to be at least 35% and this number to be at least 100%, really, the higher the better, 150% preferably, but this number needs to be 100%. So in this case, this person is making, obviously, that's good. That's more than 35%. That's more than 100%. And the number that we want to kind of manipulate around here is this unit manufacturing cost, right? So right now, Helium 10, it's pulling data from Alibaba, thinking that this might cost $3.79. But we saw earlier that it might only cost $1.80. So what that means, if we can get this $2 product for $2, then we can actually even have a more amazing margin, more amazing ROI selling the product at $19. But if we change let's say for some reason we can't sell it for $19, we have to sell for $12, then you can see that the margins actually go down quite a bit. But even at $12, we can see that our margin and ROI per unit is still really, really good. So the margin basically on this product is fantastic, right? That's really fantastic. So what I want you to do is when you're kind of browsing through your potential product ideas, just to make sure that, hey, I take the average price because we don't want to sell the product at much higher price than everybody else, because the higher the price point, the less likely someone's going to buy it, right? So we want to just take the average price and see if we can actually make it work.
All right, so one of the most critical financial metrics that you need to evaluate when you're looking at your product scorecard is going to be the actual ROI, or return on investment, that you can anticipate at the product level. Basically what we're doing here is we're calculating all of the various costs that are going to go into selling your product, buying your product, shipping your product, all the Amazon fees, and we're going to look at the price point that you're going to probably sell it at in a target case, and even in a worst case if you say have to reduce the price. And we want to see particular thresholds being met to make sure that we've got enough cash coming back in, that you find success, that you can reorder product, and that there's enough margin left over in your business. So we've created a FBA Masterclass ROI calculator, and this is probably one of the more sophisticated ones that I've seen on the market because it really encompasses everything that you need. How you actually use this is by looking at those inputs on the right. So these are all numbers that you're going to actually enter for the product that you're evaluating. And then it runs a number of different calculations in an anticipated case as well as a worst case to see what your ROI is going to be. So basically what you want to do is you want to go on Amazon and you want to evaluate the particular opportunity that you're looking at and think about where you think your price point is going to be. So again, do you want to price it the same as what everybody else is, or do you feel like you've got some really unique features that justify value of charging more? But think about the price point roughly that you anticipate selling the product for. That's going to be your target price. But you also want to evaluate pricing it that's a little bit more aggressive, because when you launch a product, you're going to have to get more aggressive with your pricing. But also, sometimes you may not be able to sell for your target price. You may find that you need to reduce the price to be competitive. So we want to understand what the financial situation is for that more aggressive case as well. So this is an example where we're anticipating a product that we're going to sell for $39.99. We're going to say if we need to get really, really aggressive, and that's just kind of the reality that we're dealt, we may have to sell it for $29.99. And then you basically throw in your COGS. So looking at the Alibaba analysis, if you've actually engaged with factories and got some real costs, that's a cost that you can use. If you're a little bit earlier in the phase, you can kind of take some estimates based on some of the quotes and prices that you've seen on Alibaba. The next is duties. Don't overthink this a whole lot. Usually it's going to be about 10 to 20% of your product cost if you just need an estimate. You could also ask your factory what the actual duty percentage is. They may have it. Estimated freight, this is again going to be typically about $1 a unit depending on how big the product is that you're shipping. Again, that's something that you can also ask both your freight forwarder as well as your factory if you want an estimate.
And we're going to be talking more about that in the future modules.
Yeah.
So this is just to show you how to use the calculator, watch the shipping module and sourcing module so that you understand how to get the costs, the duties, the freights, etc.
Yep, exactly. But these are good estimates for now.
Yeah.
Amazon referral fee for almost every category is going to be about 15%. So this 15% is going to be 15% of $39.99 if you're selling that at that price, or it's going to be 15% of $29.99 if you're selling at that price. So it changes based on the price you're selling. And then there's the actual Amazon FBA fee. The best way to look at this is to go onto one of your competitor listings. You're likely going to have a product that's size similar, and you can actually look at Helium-10 and see what the actual FBA fulfillment fee is for that product. So you can find the Amazon FBA fee based on other products that are of similar size and plug that in. Again, an estimate is fine at this stage. And then the other thing that's really unique to this calculator that we've created is we also want to anticipate the advertising costs and return rates, because those are going to come out of your cash flow. And this really helps you understand cash flow as well. So for most products, you can anticipate about a 12 to 15% tacos, or basically total advertising cost for your product. So for every dollar that you sell a product for, roughly 12 to 15% of it's going to go to ad costs. This is going to be about 25% when you launch a product, but it will come down to about 15% or below once you start to optimize. And then there's a return rate as well. So people do return your product. Oftentimes that's a sunk cost. That's typically going to be about 3 to 5% for most categories. We've just included 3% in this example. That's all you need to do. And then once you hit go, it's basically going to run all these different calculations here for you. And what we basically see here in this target case of selling the product for $39.99, we've got an ROI of 186%. You'll see it highlighted in green here. That's good. We basically want to see this number in the target case greater than 100%. That basically means that you're turning cash over. Not only do you have healthy margins, but you have healthy cash coming out for future orders and growth. Now, in the worst case scenario, again, we just want to cover our bases and make sure that we're managing risk. We want to see this ideally over 80%. If it's below 80% in this worst case, but what this basically means is that if you have to start selling it for a lower price, it may be difficult to continue the product if it's less than 80%. So a couple rules of thumb: target case greater than 100%, and then you want your worst case ideally to be over 80%. This is a more detailed calculator that takes in a number of different variables. We're also going to drop a video next that's going to show you a simplified version within Helium-10's Chrome extension that you can also use to evaluate ROI.
Hey guys, so Adam gave you guys a really in-depth example of a ROI calculator. And what we need to take a look at now is basically a tool that Helium-10 has that I think is pretty handy and dandy as well. So if we click on, again, one of our listings, Sidara Skincare, click on it. And basically, if we click on the Helium-10 tool, click on Profitability Calculator, what we can do here is basically manipulate a few different fields. So right now, it's selling for $11.99. Here's the dimensions, here's the box, here's the weight, and here's the manufacturing cost. Let's say this is like $1.50. Freight, this is like very standard. And FBA fees. So FBA fees is most goods. Time in storage, 1 month. Referral fee, this is under beauty. And tariffs, let's say this is 15%. And other costs, there's not really any other costs, whatever. So you can see that what's pretty crazy about this product is the ROI per unit, is the margin per unit, right? It is absolutely insane. So we were like printing cash with this product when we were selling this product for like $19.97. And you can see how crazy the margin is, how crazy the ROI is. So obviously you want to find a product with the highest margin, with the highest ROI. And yeah, I mean, that's basically what's going to help you with your cash flow. So definitely find a product with a ROI over 100%, preferably even higher, like 120, 150%. but minimum it's 80%, because if you dip anywhere below that, you're going to run into cash flow issues, and that's not fun when it comes to running a business. Hey guys, in this video, we're going to talk about another criteria called trends and fads. We want to educate you on what exactly each of these things are and what you need to avoid so you don't end up with tons of products that is not going to sell. So I'm going to use a few examples for this particular video. The first one is fidget spinners. So this is a tool called Google Trends. All you need to do is go to Google and type in Google Trends, or go to trends.google.com, and you'll see something like this. So type in fidget spinner, click explore. And what's it's going to do is actually going to give you the historical search volume of this keyword on Google. So that's really cool. Now, what we want to do is want to enter United States. Or if you're planning to sell in Europe or whatever, I would enter that particular country that you're selling in. But 99% of us are going to be selling US at first. But Adam has a module on how to expand into Canada. It's a great market. And so anyways, if you're going to sell in Canada, use Canada. If you're going to sell in US, use US. Over here is we like to go to 2004 to present. This is super important. So you can see this is a fad. What is a fad? Fad, basically, there's no demand, there's no demand, there's no demand. And somehow, some way, someone made it go viral. So it went viral, probably on TikTok or Instagram, or back then there was no TikTok, but like Instagram, Facebook, social media, you see it everywhere. Everybody jump on the craze, they buy it, and then they realize it's like a stupid product, and then no one ever uses it. It doesn't solve a pain point for most people, and people just end up like selling it. So, or people just end up not buying it, and then the demand goes away. And now you can see that there's no more demand for the keywords fidget spinners. So basically for you need to avoid this at all costs, right? Basically why? Every now and then, every single year, there's that one trendy product. There's that one fatty product. And a lot of people are like, hey, Tom, can I sell this on Amazon? And I take a look at it. I go to the Google Trends, and because it's happening in the present year, you won't be able to see the back end of this graph, but you'll definitely see the front end. And the front end basically look like no demand, no demand, no demand, and then boom, it just like skyrockets to the moon. And whenever I see a graph like that, I get very, very skeptical, and that's a sure sign that 99.9% of the time it's a fad. So I'd highly, highly recommend not doing a fad. Why? Because by the time you launch, the demand is going to be gone, and if demand is gone, you're basically going to be stuck with your inventory. So here's another example of something called seasonal products. We don't really recommend doing seasonal products because we want to make money all year round. Just like Christmas tree. If you type in Christmas tree, United States, 2004 to present, you can see that around September, November, October-ish, that's when the search volume picks up, and then boom, it drops because nobody's buying a Christmas tree in February. You can see that this is a very clear indication of something that is very seasonal. So winter sports, summer sports, snowboarding, Christmas trees, a lot of holidays. Those are a lot of seasonal stuff, and we don't recommend doing any products that is seasonal.
Yeah, one thing I'd add to that, Tom, is ultimately a lot of us want to build and sell our Amazon business. That's kind of when you get the really big payday, the life-changing amount of money. Both Tom and I have been lucky enough to sell one of our Amazon brands. And a lot of these folks that are looking to acquire businesses and brands, they've got their own criteria. So let's say that they raise $50 million. They can't just distribute that $50 million however they choose. The people that give them that money have their own criteria for how they can deploy it. And so another thing about these seasonal products is a lot of people, even if you've got a great brand, a great business, it's doing good revenue, all the numbers check out, if it's a highly seasonal business, they may not be able to buy it because they also want to have consistent growth, consistent revenue, predictable earnings month over month, and seasonal products prevent their ability to do that. So in addition to being a riskier opportunity for you at a product level, it also becomes riskier for you to actually sell and exit your business if you've got a highly seasonal brand.
Yeah, that's a great point. So the next thing I want to show you is something that is increasing. Now, this is probably a market that you want to get into. So type in oat milk. Oat milk is a product that's been increasing over the past number of years. So if you establish an oat milk brand around this time, you would just basically be riding the wave up. And that's exactly what happened to one of my products, the Derma Roller. We launched at basically the perfect time around 2000, not perfect, but like it was around 2019, around here. Perfect would have been around here, but here it was still good. You can see that it's still increasing, which is great. The overall trend is increasing. Now, what is the difference between something that's increasing versus a fad? Well, a fad does not look like this. A fad goes from 0 all the way up all the way down and then flat again. Whereas this, you can see a nice steady progression towards the right side, which means it's actually increasing in search volume over time.
Yeah, and another thing here, Tom, related to criteria 1, which is actual existing search volume on Amazon. If it doesn't exist yet, no one's typing in the term. If it is a huge fad spike, there's going to be a big drive in volume, then everyone's going to enter the market, and then everyone's going to be stuck with inventory in a price war. So this will also correlate very closely to Amazon search volume, because people are going to use Amazon as a product search engine. In fact, it's the #1 product search engine in the world. And so this will also correlate with that criteria number 1 and mitigate a lot of the risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is sometimes on Amazon, like earlier we talked about demand, right? Sometimes when you go on Amazon and then there's a product that looks pretty good, but there's not a lot of demand, but it really solves a problem, you just never know if this product is going to be around or not. There's an example of a product this is a crazy story, because there's a product called Hero Cosmetics. So this girl started on Amazon as well during the same time as we started skincare, and she launched this product. It's funny because we actually came across this product. It's acne patches, and on Amazon, there was no search volume for this keyword at that time. No one's really making money, but I guess she saw something that, we didn't see. She said she went to Korea, everybody was using this. So maybe in the United States, the search volume is very low, but in Korea, the search volume was very high. So all she did was basically bring the product over from Korea, and she solved a problem, right? The US market wasn't aware of it yet. So she got in at a perfect time. If we type in acne patches, let's say, look at this graph. This is a beautiful, beautiful graph, right? Like she got in around 2018 or 17. So right around this time, right before everything picked up. And we saw this product. We just didn't think there was enough demand on Amazon. And obviously we made a huge mistake. So there's definitely a lot of intuition when it comes to these things. It's not so much like A or B or very binary. There's still some stuff deep in here where hey, I know this will take off. And that's the stuff that's really hard to teach. We're not trying to hide anything from you. We can't predict the future, but just know that sometimes if your product, if you really believe in it, you believe that it solves a problem, maybe there's existing demand of this product in a different culture. It just doesn't exist in US yet. Maybe it can be a good product and you launch it on Amazon. There's not a lot of demand yet, but then the demand will come over time. You just never know. So the last thing I'll show you is kind of a product that is on the decline, which we never recommend selling. I couldn't really think of any good examples, but I thought of cable TV, right? Nobody watched cable TV nowadays, and obviously this shows it. Everybody uses streaming now. So if you ever came across a product idea, you type it into Google Trends and it's trending down, do not launch that product, okay? Just don't do it. So yeah, this is a little bit about trend, fad. Also different seasonalities. We don't recommend launching seasonal. We don't recommend launching a fad. We don't recommend launching trending products. We definitely recommend something where there's steady growth and it's just a product that is going to stay around for a long time. And that way you can ride that wave as well. All right, so trends and fads. Now, the next thing I want to kind of talk about is this a trend? Is this a fad, right? So the first thing we need to do is using Google Trends. So simply go to Google Trends and type in golf clubs, whatever the keywords you're looking for, right? So golf clubs. And then making sure that this is United States, because most of us are going to be selling in the US. Past day, go to 2004 to present. And you can see that, why is it Happy Easter? Golf gloves. You can see that this is not a trend. This is something that's very stable. Golf gloves been around for a long time, but you definitely want to take a look at this to make sure that, you're not getting yourself in a fad. And also here is where you can also take a look at the keyword trend. So if we were to go to X-ray again and click on search volume right here with the little graph over here, you can see and click on all time, you can see that, this is the historical trend on Amazon. That was Google. This is Amazon of this product. And you can definitely see that this is not a trend. This will be more of a seasonal product more than anything else, but it's definitely not a trend. So you definitely do not want to launch a product that is a fad. You want to launch a product that is more on the upcoming trend. So another criteria that you have to understand is the restricted and prohibited products on Amazon. You see, you can't just sell everything on Amazon, right? That makes sense. You can't sell drugs or alcohol and, stuff like that. So I'm going to link a really good article down below that is written by Helium 10, which is the software that we use in this course. And it's basically going to break down exactly what you cannot sell on Amazon. Now, make sure that you read this list very, very thoroughly and make sure you understand every single part of it. And to be honest with you, a lot of it is common sense. So luckily, it's not going to be that much work required. But having said that, it's still important for you to go down this list and just making sure that your product does not fit in any of these categories.
All right, so the next criteria that we want to talk about is revenue distribution. More importantly, what we really want to see within a category is a pretty even split across some of the top players in the category, say the top 5 or top 10 players. What we do not want to see is a concentration of 1 or 2 or 3 brands that are basically taking the entire market. It's just very difficult to come in as a new player if there's a couple leading players in the game. And oftentimes these are going to be bigger brands with branded search, and it's just very difficult to steal sales from those folks because they're known in the category, they're trusted, and customers are seeking their product. We want customers that don't know what brand or product they want yet. They just want to purchase a particular thing. That gives us an even chance at scoring some of that revenue from the category. So what we've got here is just an example of toilet paper wipes, just to show you some of the stats that you can look at here from the Helium 10 Chrome extension X-ray tool. So in that top left, you can see total revenue. Basically, what's really cool about this from Helium 10 is it's showing all of the total market size for that page 1 of results. So everybody on page 1 is basically generating $15 million a month for this particular product.
Yeah, that's crazy. Total revenue is $15 million per month for this category, right?
Yeah, and then what we can see next to it is the average revenue of the average product on page 1. So the average product is doing $328,000 a month. Now what we can then do is look at the individual ASINs and product listings on this page and see what their monthly revenue is. We really want to compare that against the average of $328,000. So we can see here that first one is about $449, very close to the average. Then we've got $545, close to the average. Couple in the 150 to 130 range that are obviously half of the average, and then we've got a giant player that has 3.6 million, obviously way above the average. Then we back down to 219. So actually looking at this, there's nothing too scary. Obviously we've got one big player that's doing 3 million, but there's a lot of people that are very close to that average range, and that's what we want to see regardless of what the revenue level is.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, guys, like what we don't want to see is 3 million and then like 10,000, 10,000, 20,000. That means like one player is hogging up the entire category, and we just don't want to play in that category. Sometimes, you know, people call the product based on the brand name. For example, Kleenex, tissue paper. They think of, can you pass me that Kleenex, please? You can't compete with Kleenex, right? It's going to be very, very hard to. So yeah, this is a great exercise. Whatever product you have in your head right now, make sure you do this. And then just see kind of the revenue distribution. Again, you know, if one person is 3 million and then everybody else, like they're doing 100K, 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 like, the question you kind of have to ask yourself is like, will you be happy with doing 100K? If you're happy with doing 100K and like one person's hogging 3 million, it's like, all right, like not ideal, but like not that bad. But if you're not happy of doing 100K, let's say, the revenue is 10K, you're like, I don't want to do 10K. Well, don't launch this product because everybody else is doing 10K as well. So yeah, revenue distribution, super important. And yeah. All right, now we want to take a look at revenue distribution, right? And all we're trying to do here, guys, is making sure not one player is dominating the market and no one else is making money. That's all we're trying to do. Because you don't want to get into a market like that, right? One person hogs the entire market and they own the market. So over here, we want to, again, open up X-ray, right? Same as every single video. We see that the total market is about $2 million per month, which is pretty crazy. And we can see that, you know, Joyfoot Men Weather Soft Gloves, wow, they own basically 25% of the market. That is quite amazing to see, right? They're definitely a dominant player. But what I want to take a look at here is making sure that everybody else can make some good money as well. So TaylorMade, 100 grand, 200 grand, 68 grand, 14,000, 76,000. So yeah, I mean, that's still pretty solid, right? 30,000, 35,000, 13,000, 22,000. Yeah, that's still pretty good. So other people are in fact making money. Now, if let's say FootJoy is making $1.5 million per month, out of 2 million. So they own 75% of the market, and everybody else is making like 10,000, 5,000, 8,000. Then that's a different story, right? That's very, very concerning. So you just want to make sure that even though in this case, this person owns more than 25% of the total market, everybody else seems to be, somewhat doing okay as well, which is always a good sign. So that's definitely something that you definitely want to avoid, is making sure that there is somewhat of a, revenue distribution. And to be honest with you, this is not the perfect revenue distribution, right? Like, I would prefer if this number was much lower. I mean, owning 25% of the total entire market is massive. That is huge, right? Top brands, if I want to, they own 10%, 15% max, that might be a little bit more comfortable. But even something like this is a little bit of a red flag for me for sure. Hey guys, in this video, I want to talk about sizing tiers. You see, this little pen right here is going to be in a different sizing tier than this keyboard right here versus this entire desk, right? So how it works is on Amazon, whenever your product actually gets checked into Amazon's warehouse, because it comes in a nice little package, Amazon has an automatic scanner that will scan the longest side, it will scan the shortest side, as well as will scan the width of this package. And basically, from there on, Amazon will put you in one of the 6 different sizing tiers. Now, the bigger your product is, the more storage it will take up in Amazon. Therefore, they will actually charge you more money. The smaller the product is, the less the storage there is. Therefore, they will actually charge you less money. And because it's lighter, everything is just much cheaper. Now, the question is, which sizing tier should you be selling in? Now, this is actually a different, there's different school of thoughts with regards to this specific problem. So for every single beginner, if you're new to Amazon, if you don't have a lot of budget, then I would definitely recommend selling in either the small standard size or the large standard size. Most of the products that you're going to be coming across will fit in one of these 2 sizing tiers. So one of the easiest ways to find this out is, again, just take a look at the product that you want to sell, go find the competitor. So in this case, it'll be wine tumbler, right? It'll be wine tumbler. And then you use Helium-10 to take a look at what your competitors' sizing tiers are. So in this case, if you scroll to the right over here, you get to see that they are under the sizing tier of large standard size. So in this case, this is fine. Now, if you start seeing some of your competitors in different sizing tiers, such as small oversized, medium oversized, large oversized, special oversized, then just know that your storage and shipping and so on and so forth is actually going to cost you quite a bit. Now, just because you have some competitors in the small oversized, medium oversized and whatnot, it doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't sell in those markets. But just know that it might take actually a little bit more capital investment. For example, with Adam's new brand, that is going to be a small oversize or even a medium oversize. And what we found is that in some of these sizing tiers, there's actually a lot less competition, because a lot of students, a lot of Amazon gurus are teaching their students only go for the small standard size or the large standard size, when in fact, if you actually look in the small standard oversize or medium oversize, you will actually find a lot of really interesting opportunities. But again, there's always pros and cons to things, right? And the downside of small oversize and medium oversize is the fact that you're going to probably have to pay more for storage. You're probably going to pay for more for shipping. It makes sense, right? Just because you're selling a bigger item. But sometimes there can be a little bit less competition. So it all really depends on your budget. But again, just to summarize this, we really recommend for you to sell under the small standard size or the large standard size, and making sure that you take a look at this chart and understand this chart. And therefore, when you actually even get inspections done, or when you find a manufacturer, you have to let them know that the finished product with the packaging needs to be under these certain sizes, or else Amazon will actually bump you up into a higher tier, and therefore you will actually get charged just a little bit more for your product. And I'll show you another example. So for example, if we were to go to Amazon right now, right? And earlier, let's say we were to use the FBA fee calculator. So we use the Helium-10 calculator, and we go to the Profitability calculator, And right now, as mentioned earlier, this particular product is in the large standard size. Now, what happens if we go back to the chart over here and we take a look at, okay, well, large standard size is up to 20 pounds. So anything over 20 pounds is going to be small oversize. So what happens if we actually pretend that this was 21 pounds? Well, if we change this to 21 pounds, you can see that now they're in the small oversize. Whereas before, you can see in the profitability, they were actually making really good money. They were making $11 per unit. They have a 44% margin. They have 200% ROI. But let's just say that the weight went up to 21 pounds. You can see that because it's in a different sizing tier now, they're actually losing money. Why? Because the Amazon fee has increased so much. So if we were to go back to 1 over here, you can see that the fees are all here, right? The storage fees, the Amazon fees, and everything's here. But if we were to change this number to even 10, let's say, you can see that the fees have gone up. Why? Because Amazon takes the weight, because now it costs more to ship, more to store, and everything else. So just understand that the lighter your product is, the smaller your product is, the less fees there is, but the heavier it is, the more weight there is, then obviously the more fees there are. But again, don't try to find a product that is like the smallest and the lightest. That's not the point here. The point is for us to tell you that, hey, there's different fees. And sometimes, like I said, you can find really interesting opportunities in larger standard size or even oversize. So the next thing we just want to double check here is making sure that this is in the correct sizing category, right? So all we need to do is click on X-ray one more time, and we can go over to the sizing tier. So you can see that there's a lot of people in large standard size, small standard size, large standard size, small standard size. So here's the interesting thing, right? So you can see that some are in small standard size and some are in large standard size. So if you're in the small standard size, you actually pay less in fees to Amazon because it's in a smaller category. And some in the large standard size, you can see that is actually a little bit bigger. Why is that? Well, this person is selling a 5-pack, right? You can see their weight is 0.3 pounds. This is their dimensions. So sometimes when you see a competitor or a market where some people are in small standard size and large standard size, you definitely want to try your very best to get into the smaller size. Now, if everybody here is in large standard size, that probably just tells me it's pretty hard to get this in small standard size because someone would have already done it. So being in a smaller category will save you fees. Therefore, it will actually, smaller sizing tier will save you fees. And therefore, it will actually add more money to your wallet because of the savings. So that's definitely a good tip for you. And again, you know, if you're someone just starting up with a small amount of budget, I would definitely recommend large standard size and small standard size. But if you're someone with a little bit higher risk tolerance or a seasoned seller or someone who's got, you know, money to blow, whatever, you're high risk and you're rich, but then you can definitely look into the other sizing tiers, as mentioned in the previous video, because you can find a lot of gems in those sizing tiers. Because to be honest, a lot of courses do teach their students to look for small standard size, large standard size. So all the products, you know, people launch kind of the same products in there, but there are definitely some really, really interesting products you can launch in those higher end because people are like, oh, I can't go into those higher end because, you know, it's going to cost more money. Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be talking about something called the variation test. It is very important for you to do this to analyze your competitors, and I will show you how and why it is so important. So basically, let's say that you want to launch this product called the wine tumbler, right? You found this product, you're like, hey, I want to sell this product. I'm not sure if it's good or not. So what you can do is type in wine tumbler on Amazon, right? And then you go ahead and click on helium-10 and you click on the X-ray product research. And now it's going to give you all the numbers about this particular niche. And you can see that this person, Yeti, they're selling $122,000 in revenue. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you were to click on Yeti, this listing, you can see that they have multiple colors, right? So the question is every single color making $122,000 or is the entire listing making $122,000? That's very, very big difference, right? So what you want to do is, in order for you to find that out, what you want to do is you want to go on the listing and you want to click on the Helium 10 extension one more time. And you actually want to click on X-ray one more time. So what's going to happen now is that it's actually going to pull up this particular format. You can see that they have 17 different colors, and you can see that their BSR, here's where you want to look at, the BSR, right? The BSR is the same for all of them. So what that means is their entire listing is roughly making $122,000 per month. Now, I know you say, hey, what about a 180? What about the 300? Sometimes Helium 10 is a little bit wonky, but just know that if the BSRs are all the same, then that means this entire listing is actually making $122,000. That means all the variations combined is making $122,000. Now, why is this important? It's important because sometimes if you're doing product research, you come across some products and you see, oh, wow, they're making, $200,000 a month, but you didn't click into it because once you click into it, maybe they have 50 variations, maybe they have 50 colors or 50 sizes, and together they're making that much money per month, which is a very different story if one of those listings is making that much per month, right? Because what does that mean? Well, it means in order for you to actually make, let's say, $200,000 a month, you might have to actually launch 50 colors and sizes, which is something that's going to be extremely difficult. It's going to be something that's much harder to do than if you were to just launch one size. So this is something that I wanted to just bring up because I see sometimes a lot of students, again, they will come across a product, right? In this case, wine tumbler. They do a quick analysis. They're like, oh my gosh, this listing with 800 reviews is making 130,000. But if you were to click into the listing, you can see that they have multiple colors, multiple variations. Therefore, the $130,000, $120,000 they're making is actually diluted. So this is the variation test. If you were to actually go ahead and launch a product where all your competitors have tons of variations, just keep that in mind. All right, so we went through all the criterias. Now we're actually going to show you a video on how to analyze a product. Because you see, at first, we wanted to have a lot of ideas, right? We generated a lot of ideas through the methods that we taught in the course. The second thing we did is we understand the criteria because maybe not all those ideas are feasible or good ideas. So what I want to do now is I want to actually show you the product scorecard where we're going to basically put those ideas to the test. So I'm going to show you kind of an example from start to finish. And I'm going to be basically, speaking out loud as I'm doing this exercise. And I think this is going to be very, very helpful for you. So let's say I'm going to use, derma roller as one of the products as an example. So I'm going to include the sheet down below so you can have access to this. But basically, I have the word derma roller here. And the very first thing I want to know is there any category restrictions? Can I even actually sell this product on Amazon? Now, here's the thing. Basically, if you see a lot of competitors selling this product, and what I like to do is I like to go to Helium 10, go to the research tool, the X-ray research tool, and scroll all the way to the right, and I can see the creation date. That means when these listings were live on Amazon. And you can see there's not a whole lot, but there's a few, 2021, 2022. These are not displayed, 2023, so 2020. So in this case, this is not too applicable. But if you see that this listing has 30,000 reviews, 8,000 reviews, 12,000 reviews, that means they've been selling on Amazon for a long time. Typically speaking, if you see someone, selling product on Amazon and they have a bunch of reviews, you have a bunch of competitors, typically speaking, you're good to go. But just in case, you actually want to check again the previous module where we talked about the restricted categories as well as the restricted products, and just making sure that the word derma roller is not in any of these particular products, right? And from what I see, it's not. So over here, we can basically give this no. So any restrictions? No. So the first criteria that we want to look at is the demand. Are there actually demand for this product? Yes or no? Remember, if there's no demand for this product, you have to generate demand. And that is very, very expensive. That can take a long time. That can take a lot of effort. That can take a lot of expertise. So typically speaking, we want to recommend a product that already have existing demand. So what are we looking at? Well, remember search volume? Well, search volume means how many people per month are looking up this word derma roller. And in this particular case, I can see that the word derma roller has actually 148,000 searches per month. That is crazy. That's a lot of people. And if you click on this little chart, you can see that the all-time search volume is, right now it's pretty much all-time high, but you can see the historical ones as well, right? So basically over here, I just want to put 140,000 search volume. So anything over 5,000, 10,000 per month, I would say that's like the minimum threshold. Obviously, the more the better. That means more people are actually looking for this product on Amazon. So therefore, when you sell this product on Amazon, the market size is going to be so much bigger, right? Now, just because the product has good search volume, it doesn't mean that it has good BSR. Remember, we talked about BSR being bestseller rank. So we want to make sure that the top 10 listings on Amazon here actually have a pretty good BSR. So in beauty category, anything under, I would say 10,000 or 20,000, even 30,000 is pretty good BSR. So if we take a look at, this number 2 listing that has 217 BSR, 1100 BSR, 2500 BSR, 800 BSR, 500 BSR. So you can see that there are actually a lot of sales for this product. Remember, the lower the BSR, the more that these people are selling. So for this particular product, BSR, there are a lot. So in this case, you can just say, in the top 10 listings, most are under, 10,000 BSR. Just as a note to myself, right? Now, the reviews. Remember, reviews is not the most important thing, but it's also quite important because I can see that, for example, right off the bat here, the average review on page 1, you're looking at 3,738 reviews. Man, that is a lot of reviews, right? So you can see over here that the second listing, they got review count 5,000, 12,000, 8,000, 28,000, 1,400, 1,200. So you can see that there are a lot of reviews for these top sellers. What does that mean? It means that it's harder to compete with these sellers. But also, if you have, remember what we said, if you have a new way of doing things, a new design or a new functionality or anything that is different from these folks, you can still sell this product. But the more reviews that these folks have, the bigger the differentiator your product also has. So for example, if the review count over here are in the hundreds, maybe 50, maybe 100, maybe 200, they don't have a whole lot of reviews, right? So in that particular case, you don't need a whole lot of differentiation to compete, but just because there are so many reviews, 28,000 reviews that this person has, your product really got to stand out. It's got to solve a problem. It's got to be different. So in this case, I would just put top listing reviews, like 4,000 roughly. That's a lot, right? Now, the average price you can see is $14. So I'm just going to put $14 here. Brand dominated. So over here, I'm taking a look at if it's, dominated by any certain brands. If there's one brand that is taking up a lot of the chunk on page 1, and you can see under brand, everybody's different. So in this case, everybody is different brand. So it's not really one brand that's dominating. So in this case, I would say it's not. Number of FBA sellers. So we just want to make sure that this product is actually sold by people doing fulfilled by Amazon. So you can scroll to the right and you can see that everybody is doing FBA. So that's a good sign. We want to be competing with people that are doing FBA because that's the business model we're in. So in this case, you can just say, most are FBA. So search trend. So over here, you can actually go to Google Trends. So type in Google Trends and click on that. And then type in derma roller. Click on Explore. Click on United States. And then go to 2004 to present. And you can see that this is a very clear growing trend, right? So it's been over here and then goes up. So that's a really, really good sign. So over here, back here, we're just gonna put search trend increasing. So the package size, we're gonna go back here. We're gonna use Helium 10 again, and we're gonna take a look at what sizing tiers are my competitors. So you go to sizing tiers and you can see that almost everybody is in large standard size, right? So that's a good sign, right? So over here, we're just gonna put large standard size. Remember guys, if you're new to this Amazon game and you don't have a lot of budget, I would recommend the small standard size or the large standard size. The average monthly revenue over here, you can see that the average monthly revenue is about 35,000. So over here, I'm just gonna put 35,000. Top 10 making more than $7,000 per month. I wanna make sure the top 10 people are making money, right? So it's clearly that number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can see they're making a lot of money right now. They're printing money. So of course, you know, the BSR is low, the search volume is high. Of course, they're gonna be making a lot of money, right? So yes, they're making money. Keyword relevant. So we wanna make sure, according to the wide market test, that there are a lot of keywords for this particular listing. So what I like to do here is I simply like to go on Helium 10. There's a couple of ways of doing it, but go to tools, right? And over here is where you can go to keyword, go to magnet tool and just type in a keyword like derma roller, type that in, click a new search. And right now it's basically going to find keywords that are very similar to the word derma roller. Remember, there are multiple ways to find a product, and we want as many different ways as possible. Over here, search volume, I like to put at least 1,000. And that's really pretty much it. And I like to click on apply filter. And you can see that for the word derma roller, there are people typing in microdermabrasion tool, beard growth oil for men. These are not too applicable. But what I like to do over here is click on the magnet IQ score. And then I like to go from top to bottom, right? So you can see here, Loom deodorant, not too applicable to us. I don't even know what this is, not too applicable to us. But derma roller, of course, this is the keyword we're looking for. Forehead wrinkle patches, not too applicable. But you can see there's a lot of other keywords here that are very applicable. Beard growth kit, hair rollers, derma roller 0.55, derma roller 1.5 millimeter, 0.5 millimeter. You can see some micro needle roller, and you can see that all these keywords, so over here, it's their monthly search volume, estimated number of times this keyword is being searched on Amazon. And you can see that they're also getting a lot of searches. So this keyword has $150,000 searches per month. This keyword has 8,000, 6,000. So basically, all I'm gonna try to validate here is the fact that, hey, there are tools, all really I'm trying to validate here is that there are keywords here that are getting searches, a lot of searches per month. What I don't wanna see is, a keyword that doesn't really have any other related keyword, and those related keyword doesn't even really have too many searches per month. So over here, I can put yes, it's good. And then over here, number of variations. So the variation test, I just wanna make sure that they don't have a lot of variations. So if I click into this tool, this particular listing, they have a 1-pack, a 2-pack, that's fine, only 2 variations. What about, someone like this one? I click into it. So seems like they have 4 variations. And I click into something like this one. They only have 2 variations. So you can see that, these listings, they don't have a lot of variations. So what I don't want to see is basically a listing that has like 10, 15, 20 variations, right? So this one, again, only 2 variations. So that passes the test. Number of variations, most have 2 or 3 variations, right? So also the last thing I want to know is I want to know the profit margins. So over here, I want to make sure I can make money, right? Like people are selling this product for $14. If, I want to make sure that I can get this product at low enough of a cost where I can make money. If I go on Alibaba and I see everybody selling this product, if my sourcing cost is like $5, $6, I'm not going to be able to actually, make money using this, because I can see that the price is $14. And if I source it for, $6, $7, there's not enough margin. Remember, we want to make at least 35% margin on this, right? So how do I do this? Well, I can basically click on a listing, any listing, doesn't really matter. I'll click on Sadara's listing. And I pull up the Helium 10 tool, right? And I go to profitability calculator. So now what I'm doing, and I'm working backwards. So remember, we want to make at least 35% profit margin here. So right now, manufacturing cost is set at $2.40. So what that means is if I can get this product for $2.40 for manufacturing cost, that means I can actually make 41%. That's pretty good. But what if I went to 4.8? So what if I get it for $3? All right. So you can see that if I get this product for $3, right, then I can still hit my target price of 35% profit margin, my ROI being 140%. But that is assuming I'm selling this product for $12, right? So it's important for you to kind of know what is my target price. And that's basically how you find out by using the tool. So in this case, if I want to sell the product at $12, then I need to get this product for $3. That's just a mental note I have for myself, okay? So if I get this product for $3, earlier you can see that, going back here, I can still make 36% margin, and then the ROI would be 139, like that, okay? So basically what we've done is we're putting our product ideas through this checklist, and it's absolutely critical we do this, because sometimes by doing this, now you have a framework of thoughts, and sometimes you will see a lot of no's, right? So in this particular case, I see people are searching for this product, great. I see that the reviews are really high. So therefore, I know this product is really, really competitive. Therefore, I need to actually make my product much better if I were to decide to actually come into this niche. Everything else looks pretty good, right? The searches are increasing. The monthly revenue is good. There's a lot of keywords. So it checks a lot of the boxes. But there's one box that really stand out for me is the fact that it's very, very competitive, right? So, okay, so we know that this is competitive. So what? Well, what that means is we really need to differentiate our product. We cannot go on Alibaba and just source this product and sell it on Amazon. You are going to get absolutely crushed. So now my mind is, okay, well, if I really want to sell this product, how can I differentiate it? So this is a good example of how to use the product scorecard from beginning to finish. And we're going to have many more examples throughout this course for you as well. What is the number one reason why Amazon sellers fail along this journey? Well, having to coach thousands of people, and Adam have taught hundreds and thousands of people as well, it comes down to this one simple thing. It is a me too product. It is a product offering that is not different from anybody else. It is offering a product that is lost among the sea of competition. It is having your product priced at $15 with 0 reviews, while your competitors have 1,000 reviews and price their product at $10. Your product does not solve a problem. Your product is not differentiated. Your product is literally the same as everything else.
Yeah, and it goes back to this concept of the customer why, right? Which is, why would a customer buy your product? And you've got to be ruthlessly honest with yourself about that. Put yourself in your customer's shoes, type in the keyword that describes your product into Amazon, look at what else shows up in both paid search as well as organic search, and then think about your product as you're planning on positioning it in that slot, the way that you plan on having it look, the features that you plan on having, the price point that you have it. And if there's no compelling reason to buy, as you look at that, your customers aren't either. They're not even going to click on your listing. So you've got to be ruthlessly honest. And if you can't answer that customer why, you're likely a Me Too product and it's going to fail.
And quality doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but a lot of people say, oh, well, mine has good quality. Guess what? Everybody has good quality. That's why on page one, everybody's listings have like 4.5 stars, 4.6 stars. Now, having said that, if everybody on page one have 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, and you're able to improve the quality of the product where you can actually get a 4.5 stars or even 5 stars, then that's when quality matters. So a lot of people say, well, mine has good quality and good customer service. Everybody has good quality and good customer service. It doesn't count, right? There's a little like test I like to do, and this is what I kind of share with students now, is if you were to launch the product, right, on Amazon, take the product that you want to launch, go on page one and page two to see if that exact product is on Amazon or not. If someone is selling the exact product as you are, don't sell that product. Yeah. Like you got to differentiate it so that your product can truly stand out. And again, we're going to teach you how to differentiate. We're going to teach you the different methods to do that. But this is the number one reason why Amazon sellers fail. It's just they launch the product that's the same as everybody else. So make sure you do that test. Take whatever you're going to sell and then go on page one of Amazon to see if there's anybody else selling that exact same design, exact same functionality, exact same photo, exact same everything. If someone's doing that already, change your product offering. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Tom here. Today I have a special guest. His name is Bradley from Helium 10, and he's going to teach us how to use Helium 10 to find your very first profitable product on Amazon. So Bradley, thanks for coming on to FBA Masterclass, and love to see what Helium 10 got for my students.
Awesome. It's great. It's great to be here. And I got some cool stuff. I'm not gonna give you guys slides or anything because I like doing this on the fly. So Tom's gonna like feed me some stuff that we didn't practice or anything, but really want to get the point across that it doesn't take somebody trying to manipulate results to actually find good stuff. We're just gonna be able to find it just like you guys can. And just a couple of things that in general, and you guys are gonna be learning all about this in Tom's course here. But it's important that you understand that when you're looking for products on Amazon, it can't be just about like something that you personally happen to be passionate about and then like, oh, I'm going to have success in that. Like you've got to follow the data. You've got to have existing demand on Amazon. So that's like the main thing when we're thinking product research on Amazon. There's got to be existing demand, and at the same time, signs that show that the market isn't saturated, signs that there's room for somebody new to come in, because you could have existing demand. Like the example I give all the time is like collagen peptides, right? Or where you look there and there's people selling literally millions of dollars a month of collagen peptides. There's the demand, but there's not much room, for a brand new brand that has no name. Sure, if you're Nike or something, you can probably come in and kill it on collagen peptides, but that wouldn't be a good product opportunity because it doesn't have both of those. At the same time, you might have some amazing, cool invention that nobody has thought about before and that there's zero competition on, but there's no demand because people don't even know it exists. They're not searching for it. So again, we need both of these things. And that's hopefully in the next, 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to be able to show you just a couple different ways to do that. There's an endless number of strategies, that you guys are probably going to learn. But we're just going to go over a few of them. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I want to just start off with just one of the most basic ways. Let me share. All right. So you guys will see my screen in a second here, and I'm going to go into Black Box, right? So Black Box is a database of over 2 billion Amazon products and tens of millions of keywords. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be searching first for a product, but then I'm going to show you a way to search for a keyword. And we're going to do a lot of this on Amazon. And not everything needs Helium 10 here. I'm just going to show you how to get the ball rolling with Helium 10. So let's go ahead and do it in the Amazon USA marketplace. By the way, guys, if you happen to be somewhere else, you could do the same exact process in, France, UK, Japan, UAE, Netherlands, et cetera, et cetera. But let's just focus on Amazon USA. Tom, why don't you give me like a couple main categories to search in?
Yeah, let's do sports.
Okay, go to sports. All right.
Let's do pets.
Pets, and maybe one more.
Let's go maybe like kitchen and dining.
Kitchen and dining. Sounds good. All right. So what I like to do, remember I said we got to have something that indicates demand. So for a product, what would indicate demand is if it is being sold a lot, right? So I'm just going to say, hey, show me something that's selling maybe or doing revenue as far as, I don't know, let's just say at least, let's go for between $4,000 and $12,000. Now, there's no magic number here, guys. I'm just throwing random numbers here. You guys do what works for you. Now, one thing though that I would suggest, and this is just me, but I like putting a price range, and I'm going to put a minimum price of just let's just say like $18 and a max of like 40. So Tom, why do you think I'm putting a minimum here as far as what I wanted to filter out from the results?
Well, I think if the price is too low, then the profit margin is a little
Yep.
bit too low. Like you're making like 40 cents per unit sold when you can make $4 per unit sold. And it takes the
Exactly.
same amount of work for both anyway.
100%, 100%. So that's why, I mean, you still could, like I did a case study once where I launched, I called it Project 5K. I launched 12 products for only $5,000, but these were like straws and things like that that were $8, but I was only making pennies, like for profit. So it's doable, but in an ideal situation, you'd want to make a little bit of some decent margin here. Now, I put a cap on this just because I don't want like maybe $200 refrigerators or something, something huge, because probably I don't have that much money to start something. Like if you think something retails for 100 or $200, you got to think it costs like 20% to get it produced and stuff. So you have a minimum order of 1,000, you're already talking like 20, 30, $40,000 order. Not everybody has that. So that's why I'm just putting a cap on 40. Now, on the flip side, let's say you are a big baller and you've got, tons of money to do. I might put a minimum of like 50 or 60, because these by definition have less competition, like these higher price items. So you might want to do that. But again, no magic number here. We're just doing a sample. Let's do 18 to 40. Another thing I like to do is I like to put a max number of sellers too. So for those who don't know, on Amazon, there's a lot of branded items or things that you can get in the store that's being sold. And this is called like arbitrage or wholesale, where there will be one listing and there's like 25 sellers. And that just means that they're probably just buying it from a retail store, or they're buying it from a wholesaler or something. And everybody's doing what they call fighting for the buy box. So this doesn't weed them all out. There still might be some brand names that come up here, but we're looking for private label products. So I'm just going to put a max number of sellers too. And now we talk about the demand side, right? Which is why we're doing sales. The other part of this equation, remember, is signs that there might be opportunity. All right. So one of the signs that I like to look at is the number of reviews. And I'm going to put a max, let's just put 125 for reviews. And my thought process here is I don't want to find products where everybody on page one has like 10,000 reviews. Because if I come in with 0, 1, 2, 3 reviews, it's going to be hard to convince people to buy my product. So if I can find a product, all these, by the way, guys, is characteristics of a product that I'm trying to find in the database, the Helium 10 database. If I find something that has 25, 50, 100 reviews, but it's still doing like, $8,000 a month or something, to me, that has a likely chance that it's an indication that not everybody's got like tens of thousands of reviews, because otherwise, by definition, this person probably wouldn't be able to sell $10,000 worth of products because they have low reviews. So that's one thing. Another thing I'm going to do, and I might have to like change these later on. Again, we didn't practice this. I'm going to say less than 4 stars of the rating. And then this to me could be an indication of success. What about you, Tom? Like me personally, as a buyer, I don't buy anything that's like less than 4.5 stars. Probably.
Yeah.
Do you buy like 3.5 star products
No,
yourself?
no, never.
Okay, probably you guys out there feel the same way. So if I can find something again that's selling like $8,000 a month or $6,000 a month, and it only has like 3.9 stars, well, to me, this again, it's not a guarantee, but it could be an indication that something's going on. Like, why in the world would people buy a 3.9 star product? Well, it could be that everybody else only has 3.5 or 3.9 stars, or it could be that this product is so unique and fits the market so well that there's no other options that people have to buy it. So then I'll know either way, in either of those scenarios, if I can come in with a 5-star product that people start leaving good reviews, I'm going to have instant advantage over the competition. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put, and again, this is extreme. Like I'm doing like the most extreme example here, so I'm not even sure how many things are going to come up. I'm going to put a max number of images for. To me, historically, this has been a good indication of opportunity, because as you guys will learn through Tom's course here, is you gotta really have a well optimized listing, and you're gonna need like 6, 7, 8 images, 100% of the time. Like, there is no situation where you should only have 1 or 2 images in an Amazon listing. So if somebody only has 1 or 2 images, it's usually an indication that they have no idea what they're doing as an Amazon seller. And if they're making like $8,000, $5,000, and they'd have no idea what they're doing, usually the rest of their listings kind of garbage too if they only have like 1 or 2 images. This again could be one of those indications that that there's opportunity. So let's go with this. I don't know. This is like super extreme. Like, it's kind of hard to believe that anybody would fit this criteria. And wow, there's actually a lot here. I'm gonna hop in here because I'm already seeing one that I didn't do. Like, I see a lot of variations here. One thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out variations, because if you're just getting started, maybe you don't want to have something that you have to order like 10 different colors just to get started. So let's just whittle this down by looking for the number of variations, and I'm going to put a maximum 1 here. And let's see if that takes away some of these like different sizes and stuff. There we go. Look at this. I got a pretty low list here. And so I'm just going to open up a couple things here. Pepper salt grinder. Let's take a look at that. I'm not exactly sure what that is. We got some hoodies here. That's not my cup of tea. Hat for women. That's interesting. What is this? Adjustable tools for, I don't know what that is. We'll take a look at that. Oh, look at this. This person already got suspended on. If you ever see this, guys, that means in the last week, this person got suspended on Amazon. This is what you never want to see for one of your own listings. We call this the dog page. You ever had that happen to you, Tom, or like Amazon suspending you? You got a dog page? Oh, terrible. All right, so we're not
same as the first guy, actually, paged out.
Oh, this first one too? So something's going on with some of these products where they are not, which makes sense. Like if they might have got suspended, a couple times, unless there's just an Amazon issue going on right now, which hopefully is not the case. Let's see. Gun holster, cupcake stand. I'll know something's going on Amazon if this one can't be found either. Okay, there, that one's good. All right, so not everybody is suspended. We got a pet infrared thermometer. Take a look at that one. Is there a page 2 here? Is a page 2? Let's see. Hydration up. I wouldn't want to do Rubbermaid, guys. Again, like I said, I tried to filter these out, but you never want to do brand names. Here, peanut butter, hemp dog treats. Man, pet owners are going next level with some of this stuff. That is pretty crazy. And maybe one more glass cake stand. All right, let's take a look at some of these ones that we found here. So take a look here, guys. Here's a product. They've sold about like 200 units in the last 30 days. They've got one image. And what else is wrong about this image? Since this is the main image here.
It's not against, it's against Amazon's terms of service. The quality seems very low.
Yep.
It's just,
Yep. So, the reason why he said it's against terms of service is not against the white background here, guys. So like I said, usually low number of images means the sellers might not know what they're doing. Look at this reviews. It's just under, it's 4 or 3.8 actually. They've only got 17, and yet they're doing, some decent number of sales. So what I like to do is just get an instant, I want to get an instant look at some of their, what their keywords that they're getting some sales from. So let me run X-ray keywords here. And this will tell me, like, what are their keywords that they're ranking highly for, if any. All right. And so we can take a look here. They've only got a few: wood stand, rustic cake stand, wooden cupcake stand. All right. So these are some pretty, very niche keywords. So let's just take a look at one of these search results, because I know on a one-to-one basis, I can compete with this product, but you don't compete with it's not 1v1. I want to look at what's the niche look like. So let's take a look at the Amazon results for wooden cupcake stand. And then interesting. See,
A lot of low
this is what I
reviews.
like to see. There it is right there.
Yeah.
I think this is the product that we just found, right?
Yeah.
Well,
actually, no, I think that's a different one.
or is it a different one? Well,
I think that's a different one. Yeah, that's a different one.
Wood cupcake. Well, they copy the listing then. Yeah, look at that. That's a interesting thing. But what are the things that jump out to you? I don't know why my Amazon screen is kind of slow here. Come on. I'll refresh this screen. There's a couple things, I don't know if you remember from the first time you saw it, but there's a couple things that jumped out to me about the first line of search results there. And
yeah, like
Amazon,
no one really had a lot of reviews.
Yes. Yeah. And then a couple people even had low reviews. So again, let's compare that to like what I had said before, collagen peptide. So you guys know what looks bad here. All right. So imagine trying to compete here, guys, where the top 5 listings, they're all like 5 stars, 60,000 reviews, 200,000 reviews, 30,000 reviews. I mean, to compete there is going to be rough, as you guys can imagine. So let's just look at this one more time. I don't know why Amazon is being slow like this for me, but let's try that one more time. That is,
maybe we'll just type that into your last browser.
Yeah, wooden cupcake stand. So let's go back to Amazon. Probably because I have like a million tabs open. I'm blaming Amazon, but it's probably my Chrome browser here. Everything is all right. Hold on. I need to like shut down some windows here. So let me try that here. Let me shut down some windows.
So I think just based off what you said earlier, I think that's such a beautiful way to kind of describe what product research is, right? All we're trying to do is we're trying to find a product that has existing demand and a market where you can actually go in and compete.
Exactly.
Ultimately, there are other criterias that are a little bit more nitty gritty, but I do think that, the way I explain to people, it's like, yeah, you want to find a product with existing demand where the competition is low so that you can actually launch a superior product to solve a problem for the customers so that they actually pick yours over everybody else's. If you can just find a product that does that, of course, it has to fit within your budget as well. Let's say you got, $200 to start your Amazon FBA journey. You're not going to be able to launch some of the products, whereas some other person, let's say they have, $2,000 or $20,000 to $200,000. In this case, the more money you have, the more products you can launch. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can succeed with Amazon, because ultimately the most important thing about Amazon is, the skill set that actually comes from, like, just because you have $200,000, it does not mean you're going to succeed in Amazon. That just 100%. Means if you don't have the skill set, you can actually lose up to $200,000.
Yep. Absolutely. So we've got this results back up, and you can see like 90 reviews, 16 reviews, only 3.5 stars, 28 reviews, 5 reviews with only 3.5 stars. And these products are making sales. They wouldn't be at the top of the page if they weren't having at least some sales here. And so I'm not saying, hey, everybody go run out and order some wooden cupcake stands, but that literally took us 2 minutes outside of my Amazon browser issues here to find this product. Let's just look at some of these other ones here. Look at this one. 129 units, and he's got 3 stars and only 2 ratings. All right. Terrible looking listing. Really bad. Let's look at his description. Oh, he's got that's kind of shocking. He's got this is called A+ content. You guys will learn about that later. But the rest of his listing is just complete trash. And he's making some decent money here. Here's another one. Looks like they've added, since the last time we checked, one more image so that they're above. But look at their bullet points. Very, very low bullet points. The images aren't that great. Only 12 reviews, 4 stars, and look at the description. This is it. All right. You think you guys can compete with them? Absolutely. Was there one more here? or a glass cake stand, ugly images,
Yeah.
3 ratings, and they've sold over 100 units in the last 30 days. So guys, there's opportunity out there if you're just looking for products. This is probably the most traditional way to look for product opportunity. Let me show you the way real quick though that I like doing it. I like flipping it because do you guys remember what we just did when we were looking at this wooden cupcake stand? I ran this tool called X-ray keywords. I'm like, hey, what are some of the keywords that could be driving the sales of this product?
Mhm.
Well, we always have to look at that. So let's look, instead of looking for a product, let's look for a keyword, guys. All right. So I'm going to hit this keywords tab here. And let's just look at these same exact categories that we were looking at. I'll try and remember what they were. I think you had said
Pets,
right?
yeah, sports and outdoors,
Sports
and kitchen.
and kitchen and dining. All right.
Yeah.
So we talked, guys, about what signifies demand for a product, and that is like number of sales or the revenue, right? What would you say, Tom, is what would signify demand for a keyword?
Search volume.
Search volume. All right. So this is might be a new topic or a new term for some of you. Search volume is basically how many estimated times in the last 30 days that somebody has searched for a certain keyword on Amazon. All right. So I'm going to put, there's no magic number again here either. I'm going to put 2,000 times, and let's just put a max of like 10,000 just to kind of like laser focus a little bit here. And again, I want the average price of products on the page to be, let's just pick a different number. Let's just say 20 to 50. And here's something that I like to do. I like to put up for my keyword phrase, I like to put a minimum of 2. I don't like to look for opportunity on one word searches. Any idea, Tom, why I feel that way?
I think it's just too broad. I mean,
Yeah.
one way searches, you're gonna get kind of everything and everything.
Exactly. And it's important what he said about being broad is there's this thing, this is not a real term, I just made this up, or it's kind of a real term, but I call it buyer intent. There might be a one word like kitchen or bathroom that has tons of search volume, like tons of people are searching for it, but it doesn't have buyer intent, meaning that if you're just doing something that broad, I'm probably just browsing or looking for ideas, or I'm almost using Amazon like Pinterest or something like, oh, let me see. Like the odds of me buying something from that search, like kitchen, oh, that's exactly what I was looking for, is slim to none, right?
Right.
Now you take a 3 or 4 word keyword like kitchen utensils for staging made from aluminum or something crazy like that. Well, the odds of me buying something after a search that specific is pretty good. So you guys might want to put 3 here. I'm just going to go with 2. And then I'm going to skip to some of these advanced filters. I bet you Tom might not have even used these before, but these advanced filters, what I'm looking for, I like really laser focusing, not just what's going on the entire keyword, not just what's going on page 1, but what is going on in the first 10 results. Because I don't know about you guys, but I don't infinitely scroll when I'm searching. Like probably the thing I buy is in the first 10 search results. So what I'm saying here is, hey, Helium 10, show me a keyword that's searched for at least 2,000 times a month. And if I look at the top 10 results, at least, let's say 6, at least 6 of those top 10 have less than 150 reviews. But at the same time, at least, let's just say 5 of them are doing over $5,000 in revenue. Not the same 6 or the same 5, but just out of those first top 10 products, I want there to be some volume here so that I know that it's not just something that's searched, but people are actually buying products that are on this page. And here's something that I really, really like. And this is, I think we're one of the only ones that have this. This is called title density. Title density is a made up word by me. I'm the one who came up with this. But do you know, have you used this before? Have you any idea, Tom, what this means?
No, I don't.
Good.
I've never used
Excellent.
this
We get
before.
to teach Tom something here for once. All right. So title density means the number of listings on page 1 that have that searched keyword phrase in phrase form in the title. So that sounds like a mouthful. Let me show you what I mean. I bet you the title density on this page is not that high. Let me see. Do we have something that shows that? I think an X-ray might show it. Let's take a look here at X-ray. see if we have title density. I'm going to show you how to, again, you don't need helium-10 for this. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter the results here. I'm going to hide the sponsored results, and out of the titles on this page, how many say wooden cupcake stand? All right. Apply the filters. And look at that. All right. So the title density on this page would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. All right. Now, if I were to look at the collagen peptides title density out of 50 listings, it's probably like 43, meaning that 43 out of the 50 listings all have collagen peptides in that exact phrase in the title. And the reason why this is important or is interesting is this helps you to understand how difficult or easy it's going to be for you to get on page 1. If you were to try to get, if you had collagen peptides in your title, which you probably should, that's not going to automatically get you on page 1. You still got to battle with other people because it shows you how many listings are relevant to Amazon. But for this one here, that's only 8, it's going to be a lot easier. Now, if you can find a keyword that has a lot of searches and there's only 1 or 2 listings on page 1 that even have that keyword in the title, just by you having that keyword in the title, you might be on page 1 from day 1. That's how much Amazon favors, relevancy with what's going on in your title. I know this might be a little bit above some of your head, but this is like next level information that you're not going to get many places where it doesn't mean that, hey, if there's a high title density, I'm just going to not sell it. No, I'm just saying that this is a good thing to kind of like really find those keywords where you're going to have a lot easier and cheaper path to get to page 1. So let me just do a max of 4, let's just say. All right. And let's see if anything comes up here. Wow. There we go. All right. So here we go. Look at this: ceramic slow feeder dog bowls. Now that is a keyword, guys, that has buyer intent. If I ever saw one, like, do you have pets yourself, Tom?
I do. Yeah.
Do you know what this is? I don't even know what this is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, what is this product without even me looking at it? Let's look at it.
Yeah, it's just it's like a dog bowl, right? But it's got these little creases and stuff so that your dog, it's not, they don't just gobble everything up right away.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Kind of slows them down.
Yeah.
I see. Right. I didn't even know this existed. I haven't had dogs in a while. I have cats.
Yeah.
It's actually, this is probably good for cats too.
Yeah.
But yeah, here, look at this, guys. This is, again, doesn't mean that there's, that one metric. It doesn't mean that there's no listings that have a lot of reviews. I said, hey, I only want to see at least 5 out of the top 10 have low reviews. And sure enough, look at that. We've got that here.
Right.
And then the title density, meaning on this page, this long keyword, let me see, what is the title density? Where is it at here? 2. There's only 2 listings on that page that have that keyword in there. Look at this. Here's another keyword that has crazy buyer intent: get well gifts for women after surgery.
Wow.
All right. If somebody's typing that keyword in, they're going to buy something, guys. I'm pretty sure they're going to buy something unless they just don't like anything. There is not one person on the entire page that has that keyword in their listing, but there's people doing some revenue here. Umpire pants. All right. Hey, that's interesting. Like, I would never want to be an umpire. Live shrimp. You can buy live shrimp on Amazon. Are you, wait, hold on. I gotta look at this. Are you serious?
Oh, I guess you could.
Wow.
Fried shrimp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. You can buy anything on Amazon, I guess, these days. Custom tablecloth. There's something called Amazon Custom. Like maybe some of you guys might want to get into that. It's kind of like Etsy almost, the way it works. Kitchen mats for floor piece. But anyways, guys, we just found tons of opportunity here in these last 15 minutes where, there might be people nowadays who say, oh, it's too late to sell on Amazon, or the Amazon gold rush is over. No, guys, you can find opportunity all day long. We showed you how to look for products, how to look for keywords, and it brings you to the same thing. You're finding opportunity on Amazon. So I think you guys are in the right place here, and hopefully you can find some cool products to sell too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, guys, rewatch this video. I think there's a bunch of golden nuggets that we weren't talked about in the course. So many different ways to find products. And I loved what Bradley just outlined for us. So thank you so much, Bradley. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.